I told you so. One of the girls starts a conversation trying to draw her friend's attention to a certain topic, filling her voice with thoughtfulness and a little anxiety. Why is this training so important to me? Another girl answers with a question, trying to understand the deeper reason for the importance of the workout, as if solving a riddle. Why don't you just shut up and rest? The tone of the discussion changes, and an element of discontent emerges, perhaps due to fatigue or misunderstanding. How can I rest with my mouth shut? Is a reaction to the previous remark, which is ironic and lightly sarcastic, as if the character is using humor to reduce tension. Ugh, seriously, that was a really hard workout. Expresses physical fatigue and emotional tension. After an intense workout, the words are imbued with a sense of overwhelm. Are you telling me that this is the first time you're doing something without him? One of the characters expresses surprise and curiosity, trying to understand his friend's unusual situation where he is doing something on his own for the first time. XXX, aha, that's why this training is so important to me. It's my first time, so I have to do my best. The character explains the importance of training for himself with enthusiasm and excitement, emphasizing that this is his first experience of independence, so he intends to do his best. The girl looks anxious, is a description of the emotional state of a girl who is watching the conversation, as if she is worried or disturbed by something in this situation. The boy also plunged into their dialogue. Another character, a boy, joins the conversation with interest, showing interest in the topic under discussion. Unlike me, he gets nervous about nothing. The character expresses his perception of the difference between himself and the other guy, emphasizing his calmer and less anxious attitude towards things compared to his friend. It makes a girl think. After hearing this, she thinks a look of thought appears on her face. Perhaps she rethinks her views or attitude to the situation. He doesn't seem to be much different from him. The guy listening to the conversation concludes that the two people are similar, possibly referring to similarities in character or behavior. I heard that twins can feel each other even when they are separated. The girl shares interesting information about twins, revealing the possibility of a unique bond between them that exists even at a distance. So if one of them succeeds, I'm sure the other will follow suit. She continues by expressing confidence that the success of one twin will inspire the other to follow suit, emphasizing the profound mutual influence. A smile appears on the boy's face. Listening to this, the boy responds with a slight smile, perhaps finding this thought touching or feeling in agreement with the views expressed. Wooden swords cut through the air at an incredible speed, drawing shimmering arches in the air. The student, with a concentrated look, moves with extraordinary agility, dodging every swift blow. His dexterity is impressive, every move radiating unsurpassed skill and confidence. The swords swirl in the air, creating an impressive and dynamic spectacle that seems to reflect an ancient dance. The student demonstrates absolute concentration. His eyes radiate unwavering confidence, not a drop of doubt or uncertainty. He is completely absorbed in the moment, in complete harmony with his every movement. His face expresses strength. Each feature seems to be carved with dedication and determination, as if reflecting inner strength. The students are determined to reach the goal of picking up the flag at the top of the mountain, their steps filled with confidence and purpose. They scatter enemies in all directions. Their movements are fast and powerful, like a storm that rushes through the ranks of the enemy. The ninjas deftly nail the heads, each jump a display of skill and precision, as if they were floating in the air, out of reach of their enemies. He finally reaches the flag. His movements become more confident, and a victorious light gleams in his eyes as if he is one step away from his goal. The flag from the flat-topped mountain is captured. The symbol of victory is in the air, and there is a sense of triumph and merging with the moment. But the ninjas do not intend to give up the flag so easily. Their movements reveal persistence and disagreement, a willingness to fight to the end. They run rapidly at the students, shouting, demanding the return of the flag, their voices sounding determined and desperate. The guys bravely jump from the canyon, making a bold and decisive move, avoiding a collision with the enemy. The ninjas fall like garbage after them. Their falling is marked by confusion and failure, as if they were relentlessly chasing a lost opportunity. The students skillfully land on the dense foliage of the trees, gently cushioning their fall, their movements light and deliberate, as if they were part of the forest. Behind them flies another cloud of daggers, which shine in the air, creating a shimmering and dangerous rain that is coming at the students. Thunder rings through the air from the sound of daggers, each one hitting the trees and ground with loud thuds, creating a sense of tension and threat. The main ninja is watching from the top, his gaze calm and calculating, carefully assessing every movement of the students and their reactions. He says that they are good, his words sounding with recognition and a small amount of respect, as if he recognizes their skill and endurance in this test. The mountain ranges are striking in their scale, with high peaks towering over everything, creating a sense of grandeur and inaccessibility. The ninjas should not have lost their students in such a place. Their mistake was a surprise, indicating an underestimation of their opponent's endurance and agility. One of the students has a problem. His movements suddenly become less confident. He slows down, trying to hide the pain. He has an injured leg that bears the marks of a recent wound. Every step he takes causes pain, and he tries to support his weight so as not to show weakness. It seems that he will not be able to run. His movements are becoming more and more burdensome, but his eyes shine with determination and refusal to give up without a fight. I don't think we'll be able to meet the Mount Debbie team. Can you help them alone? One of the characters expresses concern about the upcoming meeting with the other team, questioning whether the situation can be resolved without additional support. Will you be able to get back by yourself? Another character answers with a question, emphasizing his concern for his friend's safety and his ability to cope with the circumstances on his own. You can tell from his face that he can do anything. His expression radiates confidence and determination. He doesn't look like someone who gives up easily. Mount Debbie will be the most difficult of all. It is difficult to climb, and we will need at least 3 people because it is so wide. However, the Mountain of Light will also require many people. The character reflects on the difficulty of the upcoming task, noting that additional help will be needed to overcome Mount Debbie, and emphasizes the difficulty of another location, Mount Light, which will also require significant effort. He recalls Mushan's words, so only 2 will go, but this, of course, will not be enough. The character reflects on his leader's strategy of having a limited number of participants in the mission, although he realizes that this may not be enough to succeed. So after the Flat Top Mountain team successfully captures the flag, they will go help the Mountain of Light team. The plan suggests that after achieving one goal, the team will refocus their efforts to support the other group, showing flexibility and cooperation between teams. Now that I think about it, the Vice Commander's plan didn't have any backup plan in case Baek Gong and I failed. The character thinks about the possible flaws in the strategy, feeling anxious about the lack of an alternative plan. And strangely, none of us thought there was anything strange about it. He was surprised that none of the team members had pointed out any possible risks or flaws in the plan, indicating a certain naivety or underestimation of the situation. The man wants to light a flare to signal that they are coming. He is preparing for an action that plays a key role in team coordination, demonstrating readiness for the next step and a desire to keep the mission members connected. Anyone who fails to hold their position will be punished with a month of hellish training, comes the stern warning, emphasizing the importance of every action of the participants. The words radiate determination and steadfastness, emphasizing the seriousness of the consequences of not completing the tasks. The flare goes off, and its launch becomes an important signal that brings hope for communication and coordination between team members. It can be seen from afar. The light of the rocket shines brightly in the sky, becoming a beacon in the darkness, attracting attention and serving as a landmark. The students notice the rocket, their faces illuminated by the reflection of the light. This moment brings them a sense of connection with the team and an understanding of the next steps they have to take. Somewhere far away in the mountains, a man and a girl are having a conversation. This place is striking in its beauty and tranquility, which is conducive to the continuation of the conversation. 2 hearts immersed in this endless conversation never tire of discussing the deepest secrets of their existence. Amidst the mountainous nature that seems to be forever unchanged, this couple finds the strength to communicate. They believe that this conversation will help them clarify all the unresolved issues and provide answers to their questions. Seeks to get answers to important questions and reveal some of the secrets of his past. He begins his story with the words, "I met him in a lodge, not far from Hebe." Is obviously very eager to reveal some secrets or get answers to important questions. Being in the distant mountains, this conversation between a man and a girl stands out with a special energy charge. They seem to know no fatigue in this endless dialogue, which becomes a window to the world of mysteries for them. They are deeply convinced that the answers to all their questions are right here. I was confronted with an uneasiness when a member of the Blood Serpent, a symbol of mixed intrigue and mystery, appeared. My decisive intervention at this scandalous moment opened a new chapter in this saga. The owner of the hut, realizing the risks involved in discussing the affairs of the Blood Serpent, gave me instructions in fear of the inevitable consequences. He emphasized once again that when you enter the battlefield with these mysterious creatures, danger is always closely lurking. From that moment on, I had to go to the blood serpent's nesting house itself, where I would take full responsibility and rectify the situation. It was then that one of the members of the lodge decided to join my mission, promising to help. This man was Hyun. Traveling together with Hyun opened the door to a world of incredible adventures and unexpected acquaintances. Thanks to him, I found not only a true friend, but also the inspiration to join the coalition, which had a powerful impact on the further development of this unusual story. Mushina's words penetrated the girl's heart, leaving her deeply affected. The man's words awakened the most delicate strings of feelings in her and opened a window to an unknown world. Mushin's story deeply impressed the girl, leaving her fascinated. The man's words opened up a new perspective for her and made her feel as if they were traveling into a world of mystery. The girl's response was filled with trepidation and embarrassment. "Wait, I heard that the Blood Serpent sect was secretly cured, and you and Hyun are responsible for that?" Her words came out loud in the middle of the night. Sensing the tension, Mushin wisely suggests a break from the conversation so that their minds can rest and reflect on what has happened. "Otherwise, at this rate, there won't be enough time to rest," he adds, hinting at the need for caution. As this intense conversation begins, a new day on the street symbolizes the beginning of a new phase in their lives. Deep in the protected mountains, events unfold with epic beauty. The young man is flying down like an arrow, piercing the air of the mountain peaks. The girl holds the fabric of her outfit with a steady, willful tension, wrapping her palms around it, trying to maintain her dignity even in this emergency situation. Her face reflects the dedication and exhaustion caused by the difficulty of the path she has to overcome. Lady Han, a majestic and mysterious figure, bursts into the foreground, shouting at the young man who sees her coming. Master Li floated among the mountain paths, moving like the wind in a flash. In his hurried movement, he barely noticed the girl standing nearby, silently watching him. However, when Master Li turned to look at the stranger, his heart shuddered at what he saw. The girl looked as if she was bowing down to the weight of her fate. Her eyes expressed fatigue and anxiety. With unsurpassed dignity, Master Li approached the girl, full of care and concern. His soft voice penetrated the silence, giving her peace of mind. The girl told how he, Master Li, had distracted their pursuers and allowed her to escape like a hero who had saved her from danger. With a question in her eyes, she addressed Mushin as her brother. Mushin, answering her, told her that he had been wounded and asked her to come back, laying out his inner feelings of devotion and hope before her. The girl gently pulls on Mushin's sleeve, expressing her plea for him to help her find her brother. Her eyes show panic and desperation as she asks Mushin to find him and return her only relative to her. Mushin, remaining calm, emphasizes that she should not worry and promises to go in search of her. He decisively sets out to find her brother and bring him back. Memories of her fellow students who traveled with them appear in her mind, and these memories add to her desire to find her brother. The girl seemed unusually calm and focused, as if she was not the type to panic easily or worry about others. The weather was clear outside, and the sun warmed the ground, creating an atmosphere of freshness and tranquility. Two young men stood on the mountain looking at the distant horizon. Their eyes were focused, as if they were waiting for something great and extraordinary. They watched Mount Tiantai, which looked as if it had risen into the sky, its peak hidden in the fog, creating an extraordinary effect. Because of the fog, it seemed that the mountain really took hold of the sky, creating the impression that there were no boundaries between them, and the sky united with the mountains into one incredible spectacle. Only faith in victory shines in Mushin's eyes, and his determined will impressed everyone around him. After they win the flag, the girl will have to return to the coalition and start checking Mount Debi. She thinks that the team from the flat-topped mountain can help her with Debi's mountain, and she and Mushin can help him with Sveda's mountain. Mushin might be strong enough for Mount Sveda, but he is not sure about Mount Debi. She wonders why Mushin is taking this so seriously, and she sees it not only as a task but also as an interesting test of her abilities. She expresses her desire to go to Mount Sveda together with Mushina, wanting to overcome all the trials together and share this unforgettable experience. This training may seem pointless to her, but it is extremely important to Cheongdan, and she realizes it. Mushin believes in her and confidently supports her, giving her strength and confidence. For her, the moment of responsibility has come, and she realizes that this is the task of her calling that she must fulfill. Feeling supported and believed by others, it is easier to trust and cooperate with them, even in the most difficult situations. Her face reflects surprise, perhaps because of how easily she was able to muster faith in herself and others around her. and how this affected her determination and confidence in her abilities. Maoshin firmly tells her that she should not go back to her past, noting that times have changed and she must grow and develop. He emphasizes that trust can be deceptive, and playing with it can lead to dangerous consequences. Maoshin warns her that this can lead to serious problems and consequences that will be difficult to fix. Flat Top Mountain and Debbie Mountain have lost their flags, and this creates a difficult situation for their further journey. Mount Debbie lost its flag at dawn, and this loss makes their task even more challenging and unpredictable. Criminals go in search of flags, ready for any challenge. While searching, they notice a man dressed in the same suit as them. This arouses their interest and suspicion. They begin to look at him, acting alone, and begin to ask themselves why he hasn't joined their group and why he's sitting alone on a rock. The man remains alone, sitting on a stone, and seems to be a mysterious figure among the mountains. He holds 2 murder blades in his hands, making his presence even more mysterious and dangerous for criminals. Turning sharply, the man throws 2 blades in the direction of the criminals, causing a general shock. The blades fall to the ground, creating a tense and dangerous situation. This unexpected attack can be fatal, and the criminals realize that it is a real murder. For the 2 of them, this situation turned out to be unfortunate, and they are in a hateful place at a hateful moment. The man's target is Mushin, and this attack shows his intention to give him more importance in the case. Somewhere in the distant mountains, exciting adventures are unfolding, ready to amaze with their incredible beauty. Between the tall trees, I hear the sound of running footsteps. It seems to be getting closer and closer. The feet of this running creature rapidly bounce off the ground, creating a rhythmic break in the silence of the mountain forest. However, with each step it becomes clearer that this is not just a runner. It could be a girl who is moving with a special purpose. Yes, it is indeed a girl, and she runs extremely fast, showing great strength and stubbornness in her journey forward. The trees of the forest are left behind, and their dense foliage only enhances the feeling of remoteness and separation from the world. Somewhere in the forest, the criminals are waiting for their opportunity, hiding their intentions from view. The forest hides many secrets, and every step of the way can be dangerous or an unexplored adventure. Signal rockets are approaching the sky, and students must converge on their destination to join forces and complete the task. They set off from the southern ridge, all 2 of them determined to meet the dangers and mysteries of the forest to solve their task. The ninjas express their opinion that it is necessary to warn everyone about the impending danger and events. The criminals launch their flare, hoping to attract the attention of students with flags and draw them to their location. The criminals, who were in the forest, notice the green signal of the flare and realize that it is time to act. They need to go south, answering the call and preparing to meet with the students. The criminals are gathering on the southern ridge, where the confrontation and resolution of this tense situation is to take place. Motion is running, but his attention is focused only on his target, and he sees nothing around him but it. The criminals realize that Mushin is approaching them and prepare to meet him. In the hand of the criminal's killer is a dagger tarred with blood from the ruthless murder of 2 ninjas. After the deadly blows of the blades, blood flows down the ground, creating a horrifying sight. 2 ninja corpses lie ruthlessly next to the criminal, unable to defend their side. The killer notices green smoke in the distance on the mountain, which could be a sign of something important. There is nothing but a sly smile on his face, which shows his confidence and readiness for a plan that he is ready to implement, and he is confident in his abilities. He has a cunning plan that he is ready to implement, and he is confident in his abilities. The killer goes off into the fog and heads into the distance, where his next step in the execution of the plan awaits him. The stones fly at high speed, creating danger and threat, and the killer must be careful to avoid danger. On their way, the stones pierce the trees with unrestrained force, leaving behind a truly impressive picture of the destruction of nature. The ninja skillfully prepares for another stone throw, his hand silently raising in preparation for another great attack. Laughing ominously, he is already directing his gaze and stone at students who leave his field of vision, endangering their safety. Motion runs shrilly, trying to avoid potential stones, his every step filled with tension and adrenaline. The stone quickly flies over the girl, creating a momentary moment of suspended animation when the threat is in the palms of the impending danger. These balls they throw are made of ebonite and have potentially dangerous effects on those they hit. Getting under the influence of these layers can be very painful and life-threatening. With a sneer on his face, Mushin invites the girl to test these layers, trying to test her strength and skills. The number of volatile layers on their side is growing, creating even more pressure and threat. The girl has to take a sword and cut through these layers, using her skills and courage to cope with this danger. Fear instantly appears on the faces of the criminals when they see the swords held by the young men. Motion and the girl fly over the heads of the criminals, their bodies floating lightly in the air, giving them the appearance of real masters. Thanks to their dexterity and coordinated movement, they managed to easily pass through the criminals, emphasizing their extraordinary skill. The criminals realized that their opponents were not ordinary people, and they were ready to accept the challenge of this incredible duel. These young men turned out to be fast, brave, and well-trained. Their skills are impressive and testify to their professional mastery of the art of martial arts. While playing the options, they really need to save their strength for Mount Debi, where their task is even more important. Suddenly, Mushin reacts to the danger and notices that the ninjas are pitching up in the trees, ready to attack. By pulling the girl away from the threat with his hand, he demonstrates his innate caution and ability to react to danger. A cloud of layers falls in front of them that could kill them, and Mushin stands up to protect her, saving her from this danger. They keep running forward, having passed this test, ready for the next adventure on the way to Mount Debi. After crossing the mountain ranges, their path leads them to the mountainside, where the criminals' retreat becomes impossible, as Mushin and the girl are extremely fast and skillful. The criminals need to stop Mushin and the girl at any cost, and they join forces to thwart their plans and play even the last card. They start throwing stones en masse and unrestrained, directing them at Mushin and the girl, trying to create an impenetrable barrier. The air is filled with swinging stones that fly at the speed of hunting arrows, creating an incredible picture of a battle. These ball-throwing ninjas turn out to be virtuosos of their craft. Their attack looks incredibly skillful and coordinated as they try to block the path of Mushin and the girl. These layers turn out to be extremely hard and strong, creating an impenetrable barrier to the path of Mushin and the girl. Mushin and the girl decide to jump off the slope to avoid the dangerous layers. Their movements seem skillful and coordinated. They notice something in front of them that could pose a threat, and their sensors alert them to possible danger. They recognize the steep slope in front of them, which becomes an obstacle in their path. The slope is so high that it can pose a serious threat, and they need to make an important decision: how to jump over it safely and quickly. It seems that because of the thick fog, they did not notice this steep slope, and it came as a surprise to them. They overlooked a valley with pebbles and a deep descent consisting of 15 steps and extremely dangerous. The ninjas stand in front of this descent and realize that they have nowhere to run in this situation. On the faces of Mushin and the girl, you can see nothing but a smile and confidence that they are able to cope with any difficult situation and overcome all difficulties. Thus, Mushin and the girl are filled with confidence and motivation. They believe in their abilities and that they are able to overcome any obstacles, despite the dangers and difficulties they may encounter on their way. This confidence makes them strong and ready for any challenge. The heroes will face a challenge in the form of a steep descent, which requires great endurance and the ability to manage the situation. The ninjas emphasize that the heroes have no choice but to keep going and overcome all difficulties. Should carefully consider their actions, as confronting ninjas can lead to serious consequences and difficulties. We'll have to deal with a large number of ninjas, which makes the situation even more complicated and dangerous, threatening them with an extremely severe beating and sending them to captivity in a wagon. This emphasizes the danger and tension of the situation the heroes faced. Mushin tries to calm the girl down, pointing out that it is possible to reach the top and overcome the abyss, convinces them that together they can reach the top and cross the chasm, even in the face of a challenge. The girl learns that the distance to the cliff is 50 steps, while her limit is 25 steps, is confident that 25 steps will be enough to bridge the gap. Mushin delivers a threatening message to the ninjas, emphasizing his confidence in victory and that the ninjas should surrender. Feelings of surprise and hope intertwined in their minds as they took control of the situation and recognized that they were much closer to their goal, the flag, than they had been from afar. The heroes moved towards the abyss with grief in their hearts. While overcoming the abyss, their land was literally receding from them. But this inner meaning and understanding gave them strength and confidence. They realized that this was an advantage, as the criminals had no chance of catching up with them in the process. Their belief that the task could be accomplished gave them strength and energy, and they were determined to reach the decisive moment of bridging the gap. The criminals did not leave them alone and tried to stop the heroes on their way, but the heroes refused to retreat in the face of the threat. Mushin perceived her fear and uncertainty. With his self-confidence and his support, he gave her hope. His words were filled with great confidence, and she felt it. In her eyes was the courage and determination she needed to leap over the chasm. The criminals note that they do not intend to remove the corpses of the heroes later, and this refusal makes them try to stop the heroes to prevent possible difficulties in the future. The size of the descent is staggering in its extraordinary dimension and complexity. The heroes begin the process of preparing to overcome this extremely large descent, carefully preparing for the test. The heroes use their strength and skills to push off the ground as hard as they can in order to overcome the descent. Instead of actually helping, the ninjas decide to limit themselves to discussing and expressing their own eccentricity, causing bewilderment and irritation with their actions. Fearful, the girl closes her eyes, trying to overcome her fear and disturbing thoughts. Gradually, the girl decides to open her eyes, looking at her surroundings again and again, trying to gather her courage. While in the air, Mushan gently holds the girl with his arms, providing her with support and safety. To protect the girl from falling, Mushin hugs her tightly and holds her close. The girl asks Mushin to keep her safe and to pay attention to what is under their feet to avoid danger and possible obstacles. The heroes spent all their strength and overcame great fear to barely reach the edge of the abyss. At first, it seemed an extremely difficult task. They overcame this obstacle and managed to bridge the gap. Mushan demonstrated extraordinary physical strength and agility that helped the heroes overcome this difficult obstacle. With a percentage of hope and confidence, it became clear to the heroes that they needed to move faster to reach the top. Thanks to his extraordinary strength, Mushan inspired confidence that the rest of the way to the top would be an easy task for him. Although he could have handled this task on his own, he chose not to leave her alone and go together. When asked about her fear of falling, the girl showed her masterful independence and refusal to be weak. With a positive attitude and confidence in success, the heroes move up, because the flag they need to get is still at the top. The task of getting the flag is still in front of them, and they are determined to fulfill it. They realize that the ninja will not give up without a fight, and it will be extremely difficult to overcome them and get the flag. Motion appears in front of them out of the blue, and his persistence and willingness to knock them both out shows his determination and extraordinary skills. Demonstrates his extraordinary strength and dexterity by throwing the heroes in different directions, creating an opportunity for the girl to reach the flag. Using this moment, the girl goes to the flag, fulfilling her mission. The girl pulls the flag from its place and successfully completes her task. The heroes, scattered by Mushina, quickly try to cover the distance and return to the coalition, seeking to unite again. Has successfully achieved its goal, and the flag is already in her hands, signifying the completion of the task and the victory of the heroes. Despite the successful completion of the task with the flag, the heroes realize that they still have a long way to go. The anxious passage of time is taking its toll on them, and now they must move quickly to cope with new challenges. Caught up in the tension, the girl feels the need for caution and safety, asking her friend to be careful in this difficult situation. She moves forward with grace and determination, trying to reach a coalition and ensure the success of the team. Has a moment of reflection, and in that moment they feel that a special bond is being born between them, that it is more than just a common mission. It is a partnership that unites their destinies and goals. Motion should also move forward, joining the rest of the team to overcome further challenges. The characters realize that they are facing a difficult and challenging path and will have to overcome many obstacles. The internal flow of events catches Maoshin's attention, and he senses that something important is happening. Surprise and inner feelings make Mushan stop to consider the situation and make a decision. The forest is filled with unknowns and dangers, and they realize that anything can happen at any time. Amidst the silence of the forest, Mushan perceives a mysterious sound coming from the distance. Mushin cautiously examines the huge trees, and then abruptly fixes his gaze on the place of emptiness beneath them, where nothing seemed to be. Gradually, it is revealed that there is a living being in this emptiness, which remains hidden. Hidden in the shadows, the stranger wonders if the Mushan standing before him is really the one they have been looking for and waiting for. With a steady expression of determination and confidence, Mushin confirms that he is indeed the Mushin they were looking for, confirming his identity. The stranger begins to express gruesome details about the murders, attracting attention with his horrific story. Motion, interested, asks him, "Who are you?" Shows interest and asks the stranger about his identity. The stranger is in no hurry to answer and intends to keep you in the dark. Repeats his question, directing it to the stranger in the hope of learning more about him and his intentions. The first character wisely states that what matters is not who he is on the outside, but rather what he is on the inside. He made incredible efforts and spent a lot of time searching for the elusive fly, as if playing chess with death. The man exudes an aura of a mysterious killer that fills the air and adds additional tension to the situation. Finally, the hero admits that his heart has longed to meet the fly, and this mystery wins over him. At the climax, his hand throws a dagger in the direction of the fly, revealing the most significant psychological turning point in this mysterious story. In a decisive moment, he flies right next to the fly's cheek, barely touching it, trying to hit it accurately and invulnerably. His blade cuts through the young man's long hair, creating a tense and terrifying atmosphere during this dramatic event. However, due to a strong impact, the weapon gets stuck in a tree behind the fly, causing the hero to be very uncomfortable. After the impact, the tree breaks apart, creating chaos and panic among the people around it as the force of the event gets out of control. Shifting from its bases, the heavy tree falls, making room for further events and creating a sound that silences the entire forest for a moment. The machine, standing firmly on its wheels, demonstrates extraordinary strength and shows no signs of breaking. This unexpected resilience of the machine causes a deep anger in the heart of the one who observes the incredible endurance. The murderer, having struck such strength, feels that his reputation is under threat, and this situation looks like a shame to his future victim. Because the machine remains completely safe, not even reacting to the attempted attack, and looking at this, the killer feels really angry because he cannot overcome her resistance, let alone intimidate her. At this moment, the young man is overwhelmed with courage. His soul is filled with bravery that allows him to stand even in the most difficult wave. Meanwhile, the killer is seriously focused on his horrific attempt on the life of a Maoshin, his gaze filled with anger and determination. The enemy dissipates in the mystical fog that rises around him, and he himself becomes unreachable to the young man's eyes. The young man, bewildered and somewhat confused, does not understand where the killer has gone, and his irritated face expresses his confusion. With mixed feelings, he asks himself if he can find the enemy with his eyes, or if it is too much for him. At the most unpredictable moment, a dagger flies out of the fog near the young man's face, looking like a bolt of death. These daggers, almost invisible, almost dissolve in the fog, creating a mysterious threat. Flies out of the branches at Mushina, as if falling from a terrible height, ready to complete his criminal plan. He throws out 2 more daggers with extraordinary skill and precision, and land extremely close to the head of the mouse, threatening the worst possible ending. They eventually explode, releasing a cloud of thick smoke that barely makes it possible to understand what is happening, creating a smokescreen that hides what is happening. The criminal stuck at the top of the tree feels how ruthlessly difficult his position is, and how his opportunities are lost with the height. The second time, a dagger flies out of nowhere from a puff of smoke that seems to have been made for this very moment. It seems that this dagger was launched by Mushin himself. Such a surprise completely surprises the criminal, who is wary of this incredible phenomenon. The criminal, feeling his life threatened, intends to throw the dagger into a tree. His throw is as strong as the killer's, and he hits the tree. After landing on the ground, the criminal quickly comes up with a plan to complete his mission, kill the young man, and escape from this deadly maze. The criminal smiles, thinking that Mushan will not have enough skills and courage because he is already standing behind a tree, ready to respond to any attack. Despite his certainty, the perpetrator focuses his gaze on the spot where the explosion took place. However, he only notices the deep hole that now lies in front of him. At the very moment when the criminal tried to understand what was happening, Mushan appeared near him, being so familiar with the situation that he managed to take him by surprise. Maoshin acts confidently and decisively, approaching the criminal with lightning speed. Without mercy, Mushin hits the killer with a strong punch, sending him to the ground and making a loud thud. The offender flies into a tree, hitting his back hard against it. To prevent the criminal from falling away from the tree, Mushin takes vigorous action by grabbing him hard by the throat with his powerful hand. At this point, it's interesting to see what can be seen on the perpetrator. His face may be marked by an attempt to remain calm, but his eyes betray his anxiety and fear of motion. The perpetrator appears to be a member of the so-called Zhongyuan coalition, which may be the key to solving many secrets and mysteries. Mushin squeezes his throat extremely hard, trying to extract important information from him or simply punish him for his actions. The criminal is barely breathing and sniffling, fighting for every breath in Mushan's mouth. Once again emphasizing his incredible power, stands in front of the criminal, showing that power is in his hands. However, at one point, the criminal dares to put on the manufactured daggers that were hidden in his sleeve and almost stabs the killer. At the crucial moment, Mushin quickly dodges the blow, leaving the criminal unable to achieve his goal. He skillfully deflects the attacker's successive blows, using his skill and agility to avoid dangerous attacks. Sensing the end of the game, Mushin intends to end this battle with the killer once and for all. He stands before his opponent with a look of determination on his face, ready to act without mercy. Without a moment's hesitation, Mushan delivers a strong punch aimed directly at the killer's chest, which ruthlessly tests moments of tension. But at that very moment, the killer responds decisively, using his own body. He hits the ground and the tree growing nearby, knocking it down with his strength. This blow causes an incredible rupture, and the sound of the wood breaking and breaking pierces the surrounding forest and sounds like a giant thunder. The leaves from the folded trees fly hundreds of meters in all directions, creating an incredible spectacle that impresses even distant observers with its lush beauty and magnetic power. The fragments of the tree fly around like enchanting fire sparks, traveling in all directions. It is immediately apparent that the killer's blow reached the root of the tree, cutting it through, watching it crumble to the ground. Mushin, in the center of nature's destructive power, does not retreat and continues to impress with his unbreakable strength and resilience. The criminal, leaving behind terrible traces of destruction, still tries to get up. He's not doing it with much confidence, trying to overcome the strong blow he received, and his movements become unusually heavy. In recognition of Mao Xin's strength, he says that Mao Xin's strength is stronger than he ever imagined. Nevertheless, despite the wounds he inflicted on Mao Xin, it is clear that the killer is shaken and not very confident on his feet. These wounds hit him hard, but they are still not enough to get rid of this incredibly resilient enemy. Everyone is well aware of how powerful Mu Xin is, and this should not be forgotten even in the most difficult moments of battle. A new chapter begins, full of uncertainty and intrigue. We see a man who deeply regrets his own mistake, reflecting on the shame he has brought. The killer, deep in thought, thinks aloud. I think the sons of bitches from Biyun Dan found the bodies of their comrades? These are the words that reveal his cold-bloodedness and ruthlessness. The hero of the story realizes with horror that he is responsible for the deaths of these people. His expression reflects deep remorse and embarrassment. He reflects, "It looks like I'll have to run away before they come. Unfortunately, I don't have much time." This is a desperate decision that he makes, realizing the gravity of the situation. With unwavering determination in his eyes, Mushin decides not to let his enemy go. He is ready for a confrontation, feeling the urgency of the moment. A bomb suddenly appears in the enemy's hand, and the moment of tension intensifies because every move can have unpredictable consequences. The environment is filled with beautiful but disturbing red smoke, which adds both aesthetic beauty and uncertainty to the scene. They both realize that their meeting is inevitable and will happen again very soon. This prediction of an inevitable clash adds tension to the story. The enemy declares, "We will continue the game next time with my brothers." These are words that foreshadow future trials and encounters full of challenges and dangers. The enemy suddenly disappears in a thick fog, leaving only traces of mystery behind. Mushin, puzzled and bewildered, cannot understand how it happened that the enemy disappeared so quickly and unnoticed. Reveals the secret of his incredible ability. After going through a complete transformation and absolute restoration, I was resurrected in a new, younger body. He adds, and it retained all the memories I had 2 decades ago. This discovery adds a new dimension to the understanding of its power and capabilities. And you made 2 mistakes, Mushin says to himself, immersing himself in memories. The first mistake, he said, was that Mushin did not know his true identity. The second mistake was that Mushin disclosed that he had infiltrated Zhongyuan, which could lead to unexpected consequences. Cawing like a crow from the cliff, he recalls unfinished business from 20 years ago. His words are filled with mystery and unresolved questions of the past that still remain unanswered. Flies very fast as if it were flying into the sky, leaving only questions and intrigue behind. Mushin, displaying his incredible strength, breaks literally half a rock with a powerful punch. His actions demonstrate his undeniable strength and will to win. His abilities are so great that he can destroy anyone who gets in his way. Mushin is the embodiment of strength and determination. The enemy, in search of shelter, penetrates the rock crevice, trying to avoid a direct confrontation with Mushin. There are traces of blood on the floor, evidence of the fierce battle that took place between Mushin and his enemy. This blood is a silent testament to the merciless battle. The enemy, shocked and amazed, thinks, "He's incredibly skilled and strong despite his age. I did not believe that he single-handedly destroyed the Blood Serpent sect." These are words that emphasize Mushin's enormous potential and abilities. Speculates that there may be a purpose behind Mushin's actions, and perhaps his joining the coalition is part of that mysterious purpose. This speculation raises questions about Mushin's deeper intentions and plans. He also realizes that Mushin could be a serious obstacle for their organization, emphasizing the growing threat that Mushin poses to their plans. They need to get rid of Mushin as soon as possible, which indicates that he recognizes the young ninja as a serious opponent. Is undoubtedly a great threat to the criminal world, and his courage and strength make him an enemy that is difficult to deal with. Night falls on the streets. Everything is quiet, creating an atmosphere of anticipation and mystery that envelops the unfolding events. A young girl is running relentlessly through a dark forest. Her steps are confident, but she is anxious about the darkness that surrounds her. She looks exhausted, as if she has run an incredible distance. Her face expresses fatigue, but there is a spark of determination in her eyes. Her goal is a small town called Yeonam. She knows that this place has great meaning for her, like a beacon in the darkness. Mushin's words resonate in her mind. Each of you, regardless of whether you received a flag or not, must wait for me there until midnight on the 6th day. These words inspire her and give her the strength to move on. Her journey to Yeonamu is extremely long and tests her strength, but she does not stop, moving forward, overcoming every obstacle on her way. Finally, on the horizon, she spots the outline of a village approaching in the early morning light. She knows that this village is the final destination of her long run. Having overcome all the difficulties, she achieves her goal. After a grueling journey, every step that brings her closer to Yeonam fills her with relief and hope. Her mind is filled with memories that wash over her like waves, evoking a mixture of feelings ranging from sadness to determination. She recalls how her brother, dodging the daggers, shouted to her, "Don't worry about us and just get to Yeonam." These words from her brother gave her the strength to continue her journey. She also recalls the words of others who asked her to hurry. "At this rate, we will all be caught. Hurry up, Lady Peck." These words remind her of the importance of her mission and the urgency of the situation. The girl, filled with determination, made a promise to herself to return with the deputy commander. For her, this promise is not just a word. It is a testament that she must fulfill at all costs. She recalls the moment when she made this promise, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. She knows she cannot break it. Suddenly, she notices someone nearby. Her instincts are tense because she doesn't know who might be hiding in the darkness. In response to the potential threat, she throws her weapon, the thread, into the darkness. This decisive move demonstrates her training and agility. Her threads hit someone between two trees. This shows her skill and precision, which are key to her survival and achievement of her goal. Sensing the presence of someone in the darkness, she pulled the string decisively, preparing for a possible confrontation. A voice suddenly comes out of the darkness shouting, "You're late!" This unexpected intervention causes tension in the air. It turns out that it was Mushin, the deputy commander, who suddenly appeared in front of her. His appearance brings relief, but also surprise. She exclaims, not recognizing him at first, "I didn't recognize you. What happened to your hair? Are you okay?" Her concern and anxiety for him is evident in her voice. Mushin replies, "Yes, good. Where are Jang Hyuk and Woo Yun-sob?" He quickly cuts to the chase, demonstrating a focus on the mission and the safety of his comrades. She speaks with anxiety in her voice. "They gave me the opportunity to escape, but I don't know what happened to them." Her words reflect her concern and uncertainty about the fate of her comrades. Mushin wants to look her in the eye, so he asks her to turn to face him. He wants to reassure her and support her in this difficult moment. He promises her, "I will replenish your energy, so come back to the coalition with the flag." His words are full of confidence and support. However, she replies, "I can't. I promised I would return to them with you." Her decision to stay true to her promise is a manifestation of her character and principles. Mushin reassures her, saying, "You have already done more than enough." He recognizes her efforts and bravery, showing his respect for her decisions. Taking responsibility, he tells her, "I'll take care of the rest. Just relax and calm your breathing." His words are filled with confidence and the ability to control the situation. Gently puts his hand on her back, showing his support and desire to help. Some special hidden power awakens in Mushin. This force looks mysterious and powerful, revealing a new aspect of his character. Begins to transfer his energy to her, using his abilities to help her recover. This process looks magical and healing. During the transfer of energy, it seems to begin to glow, its power and energy visually manifesting, creating an impressive and mysterious picture. Mountains hide many secrets that can amaze the imagination. They stand silently, but each peak has its own unique story filled with adventures and unexplored paths. There is a mysterious atmosphere at the top of the mountains. It's a place where the earth touches the sky, and the air is filled with a sense of freedom and untouched nature, where human feet rarely set foot. It takes at least 5 days to reach the coalition from the Mountain of Light. It is a journey full of challenges and discoveries, where every step leads to new horizons and discoveries. Today is the 6th day of our journey. Time flies by when every day is full of new experiences and challenges, but at the same time it stretches on forever in search of a goal. The young travelers were left alone to face the challenges of the mountains. No one came to help them. They had to rely only on their own strength and mutual assistance to overcome all difficulties. The ninjas feel abandoned by their own team. There is disappointment and confusion among them because trust and mutual assistance are the basis of their brotherhood. The young ninja boys were tricked into taking a drug that induces a deep and deceptive sleep. This cunning plan led them to be at the mercy of sleep, losing control of the situation. There is a dilemma among the rivals, whether to give the young ninjas an antidote. This decision can change the course of events and determine the fate of the participants in this dangerous game. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to everyone, someone mysterious is approaching the top. This figure, cloaked in secrecy, can bring an unexpected twist to the course of events. A surprised exclamation. "What? That doesn't look like the girl who took the flag." The words echo through the group as they realize that the situation is not what they expected, and that this could change everything. He's approaching with incredible speed. His movements are swift and decisive, as if he's flying without touching the ground. Each step brings him closer to his goal, and soon he will be here. Who could it be? If it's not a girl, then who is sneaking in so skillfully, leaving behind only bewildered looks and questions? "Hush, it doesn't matter. Get your swords ready," comes the command. The participants concentrate, preparing for the inevitable encounter. Everyone holds their weapons tightly, ready to fight. Mushin, like lightning, moves quickly and deftly. His movements are instantaneous and precise, and he is almost invisible to the eye, creating the impression of an elusive shadow. "He's coming!" comes an exclamation of surprise and heightened attention. Expectation tenses the air. Everyone is watching the stranger's every move, preparing for a collision. Leaps above them, reaching an incredible height. This leap looks almost supernatural, as if it is momentarily escaping from the embrace of Earth's gravity to fly high into the sky. He seems to be whirling in the air, masterfully controlling his body. His movements in the air radiate strength and grace, giving the impression that he is not just jumping, but dancing among the winds. Then he lands on the ground softly and precisely, like a feather. This grounded seems to emphasize his skill and control of his body in every movement. The look in his eyes says more than words. He is fierce and unyielding. His eyes radiate determination and strength. The criminals hear the command to take him. They prepare for the attack, setting themselves up for a serious confrontation. The atmosphere is tense, and the anticipation of battle is in the air. They attack him with swords, trying to surround him from all sides. Their movements are full of determination and aggression, trying to overwhelm him with numbers and strength. But is this really a threat to him? His resilience and ability to maneuver among his enemies seem unshakable. He is calm and focused, ready to meet the challenge. He scatters his opponents one by one using his skills and strength. His movements are quick and precise, and he leaves them no chance, controlling the situation with skill. He hits everyone who tries to get close. Each punch is powerful and accurate, causing maximum damage and demonstrating his superiority in combat. With each blow, he screams, releasing his fighting energy. These cries are full of strength and determination. They scare away and demoralize enemies, reminding them of the power and courage of this warrior. The enemies are scattered far away from the strong blows. Their bodies fly away powerlessly like leaves torn by the wind. This scene demonstrates the undeniable superiority of this warrior in battle. The remaining ninjas seem to recognize him. Recognition flashes in their eyes, mixed with surprise and respect. It is a sign that they realize who they are dealing with. Approaching him, one of the ninjas tries to strike, but he is also instantly knocked out. This quick and decisive movement only confirms the warrior's skill and strength. Now all the enemies are lying on the ground, defeated and powerless. They are scattered across the battlefield. Their attempts have proved futile in the face of such an invincible opponent. Then he picks up his soldiers. He moves calmly and confidently, lifting his men and preparing for the next phase of his mission. This act emphasizes his leadership and dedication to the team. The situation is developing in a completely unpredictable way. What seemed clear and predictable suddenly changes, introducing new appeals and discoveries into the unfolding events. The action moves to the coalition, where a new plot twist takes place. This change of scene introduces new characters and opens up other aspects of the story. The teacher asks the young man how his leg is, to which he replies that it is fine. This brief conversation reveals the boy's health status and his readiness for further challenges. Says that one person returned with the flag. This news brings an element of surprise and intrigue, as the flag has an important symbolic meaning. Today is the 10th day, the last day. But I assure you that we will succeed, Commander, one of the characters declares. These words are full of faith and determination, emphasizing unwavering commitment to the goal and team solidarity. The commander is called out, pointing to something important. This is a moment of heightened attention, when every movement and glance is focused on an object of interest that can change the course of events. A group of students arrive at the scene, and one of the girls holds a flag. This opens a new twist in the story, where the flag becomes a symbol of achievement and victory. They are greeted with joy, and everyone's faces shine with happiness and relief. This moment of unity and mutual support emphasizes the importance of teamwork and camaraderie. The teacher exclaims, "Wow," amazed and delighted by what he sees. This expression of surprise and delight reflects his pride and satisfaction in the success of his students. Baek Ha-on, Jang Hyun, Lee Bom, Han So-jin arrived with the flags of Mount Daebi and Mount Tiantai. The announcement reads, "These are the names of students who have achieved significant success, returning with symbols of their victories. It is a moment of triumph and recognition. I'm sure you're all tired, no need for formalities. Relax and get some rest." The commander addresses the students. These words demonstrate his concern and understanding of the participants' fatigue after a long test. "Prepare food and drink for them," he instructs the servants. This team emphasizes the desire to ensure the comfort and well-being of students who have just returned from a difficult mission. They are unrealistic. The commander thinks of them, respecting their efforts and courage. This is a recognition of their achievements and endurance. It was a tough test. He reflects on the difficulties and challenges the students had to overcome. This assessment emphasizes the significance and complexity of the task they successfully completed. "Where is Hyuk? The Mountain of Light team hasn't arrived yet," he muses. This question emphasizes the commander's concern for the other group that still hasn't returned, adding tension and intrigue to the events. This unexpected information caused sweat stains to appear on the young man's forehead, resembling pearls blooming on his forehead in spring. The deputy commander, like a gloomy summer, immediately disappeared from the horizon and never returned. His absence further emphasized the mystery of the situation. The girl was worried about him like a bright flower garden swaying in the wind. Her heart was filled with anxiety and uncertainty about the fate of her beloved. The sunset was already blooming in the sky, framing the street with a warm pink light. A calm atmosphere permeated the air, heralding the arrival of night. Meanwhile, verbal fights were unfolding at the security gate like colorful petunias in a garden. The two men were actively arguing, betting on whether Dana would return. They created an aura of great uncertainty about her fate. The words flew like birdsong and told of a guy with a damaged ankle who had arrived a long time ago, information that flowed like a river and had already taken hold in the imagination. 3 days ago, he arrived as an unusual guest, raising many questions. As for their vice commander, even the best sunrise could not obscure his absence. He remained invisible in the story, like a white cloud in a clear sky, and no one thought he could return. There was uncertainty in my soul whether he had not yet returned. Doubts like autumn fog enveloped every thought. Why hadn't he come back yet? These questions floated in the air like a necklace of questions, and no one had an answer. With eyes filled with shame and sadness, she openly asked for forgiveness. Her words sounded like a ringing bell that stirs up guilt in our hearts. When asked where she was going, she replied that she was going to greet her friends who would be returning soon. Her answer sparkled with hope for the meeting and the joy of acceptance. However, others tried to convince her to return. They said that it was not a lot of money, but they were sure that everyone would come back. Their words were like a spell of hope. The old man looking at her was striking in his anxiety. It was immediately obvious that he was worried about her, like a ripple on the surface of the sea. Carrie moved forward without turning around, like the wings of a flying bird trying to rebuild its nest. The old man's face was not joyful, but it was full of love and support, like hands ready to warm you on a cold night. Immediately after the fall of the Sinners faction in the Great Battle of Murim, rumors began to spread that the mage and their leader, Dan Gok, were to blame. But you know that the mages were one step ahead. They used the Dan Gok family tree and his assistants as scapegoats, right? He continues, revealing new details of the story. They lost all their property, men were beheaded, and women were tortured. Obviously the daughter of Dan Gok. The master pauses, hinting at a secret that may be the key to understanding the current situation. She hid her identity and came over to our side, the master concludes, hinting at the possibility that an important character still plays a key role in the events of the academy. A homeless wanderer, looking suspicious and intrigued, looks at the girl. His gaze is piercing and analytical. He sees something very familiar in her, something that gives him a feeling of DG CJG Vu. His eyes reveal an understanding of the mystery. The wanderer notices the girl's fiery red eyes, which radiate extraordinary power and mysticism. Although the girl only paid attention to the old man for a moment, she had a cold, razor-sharp aura that struck him, not to mention her similar mastery of the sword, which aroused the wanderer's surprise and respect. Perhaps this was the girl we had been looking for. She was right in front of our noses, the wanderer thought, feeling that he might be on the trail of something big. She walks away from the old man, keeping a secret that has just been revealed to her. With her eyes squeezed shut, she stares into the distance, as if searching for answers to her own questions. There, she notices her mentor, whose figure is immediately recognizable among the others. She also sees the silhouettes of his team gathered together, creating a sense of unity and power. She whispers to herself, "Isn't that Mu Yen?" And you can hear the surprise and uncertainty in her voice. Suddenly, she moves decisively toward the boys, leaving the old man behind. Her movements are quick and confident. The old man watches the girl with a cold stare, following her with his eyes. In his eyes, there are mixed feelings of suspicion and intrigue. The old man stands up and turns to one of his friends standing nearby. "You must have bet a lot of money on this." His voice is full of confidence and suspicion. He looks at the gate and, seeing who is coming, speaks with a tremor in his voice. "They are here. My money." A girl with fiery red eyes runs to the pranayama. Her movements express impatience and excitement. Mu Yen's team returns and confidently walks the road, showing its strength and unity. Mu Yen, who embodies the reborn god of war, seems to be aware of all the difficulties he will have to overcome. The girl is happy to see everyone safe and sound. Her face shines with happiness and relief. Night falls at the academy. The team is having dinner in their courtyard, discussing the day's events and sharing their plans for the future. Mu Yen made a great impression on one of the masters of the academy. The master did not expect such an outstanding result from the boy. To be honest, I didn't expect much from them. The fact that they were gone for 10 days is absurd, says the master, expressing his distrust of such a long absence. However, Mu Yen's team came back with 4 flags, and that was with every member of the team. It was an incredible achievement. The master looks at Mu Yen with admiration. "You always exceed my expectations. On Cheongdan's fame will undoubtedly grow after this training, and it's all thanks to your brilliant planning and efforts," the master adds, showing his admiration. Mu Yen replies, "While it's true that I gave my all to succeed, there was no guarantee of what would happen. This was only possible thanks to everyone's joint efforts," says Mu Yen, paying tribute to teamwork and its importance. The team enjoys a festive feast with all the delicacies organized in their honor. Their faces shine with joy and satisfaction. They laugh and discuss their experiences. One of them says, "I ran like the wind to avoid them." Another exclaims, "I laughed so hard at them that I thought I would really die if they caught me. Wow, even though I was choking, I couldn't stop, so I thought I was going to die for sure," adds the third team member, sharing his exciting experience. "And just when I thought I couldn't run anymore, Li Bom appeared." One of the participants concludes the story, emphasizing the incredible turn of events. "At that moment, I felt that I had finally met the love of my life," says one of Mu Yen's teammates emotionally, and everyone around him is filled with admiration and interest in his story. Mu Yen himself is standing on the balcony, looking thoughtfully at the landscape of the night academy. He looks lost in his thoughts and memories. He is thoughtfully silent and understands everything that has happened. His eyes reflect reflection and insight. A girl comes up behind me and says, "I can't stop thinking that something has happened." Her voice is full of worry and anxiety. "Why aren't you with the others?" Mu Yen asks, turning to her. He sounds curious and slightly surprised. To this, the girl replies that she is not used to holiday feasts and similar events. You can hear in her voice the lack of habituation to such events. Mu Yen said, "Even though it was just a training session, it was still a meaningful event. It's times like this that strengthen the bond with your teammates." His words reflect his understanding of the importance of team spirit. The girl asks, "So you say, but what about you?" Her voice is full of curiosity and challenge. Mu Yen replies, "It is important to draw a clear line between the elite and the rejected." His words seem serious, but they have a subtext. He smiles and adds, "It was just a joke." His expression becomes lighter and friendlier. The girl, embarrassed, does not understand his humor. She looks a little confused. "I didn't know you could joke, or was it a duty?" she asks, trying to understand his intentions. Having missed her words, Mu Yen suddenly notices her friend outside the courtyard. He was a wanderer, uncertain and mysterious. His appearance adds an element of uncertainty to the plot. Mu Yen tells the girl that he will be right back and quickly walks towards the wanderer. He does not explain to her where he is going. On a slope in the woods near a forest resting place, they meet an old man. The atmosphere is mysterious and calm. Mu Yen asks the old man, How did it go? He sounds interested and concerned. The old man raises his finger to his lips and makes a shh gesture, warning of the need for silence. His eyes are full of caution. The girl, disobeying Mu-En, begins to follow him in secret. Her movements are full of curiosity and rebellion. The old man asks Mu-Yen, "Can I trust her?" His question sounds serious and important. Mu-Yan replies, "She can't destroy our plan." His words radiate confidence and strategic calculation. The old man laughs and replies, "You know how to play with your words." His laughter reflects confirmation and some surprise at Mu-En. The old man asks Mu-Yen with a smile, "Do you trust her or have you tamed her?" His words sound like he's trying to understand the hero's motives. The old man continues, "Well, I guess it doesn't matter who she is, as long as you can control her." His words reflect a pragmatic approach and a calculation of influence. Mu-En is serious. If it's not about work, then a signal was given last night. He tries to understand the significance of this event. The old man smiles and says, "It's a signal from Wu Heng that something has happened in the Hebei Peng clan." His words reflect his knowledge of the secrets he is revealing to Mu-En. There were a few instances where the Hebei Peng clan supported the Blood Serpent sect, but it wasn't enough to say that they were related, the old man reflects, reflecting his knowledge of the complex relationships between the clans. "This shows how carefully the Hebei Peng clan covered their tracks. That's why I looked elsewhere," he continues, revealing his investigative methods. "And the boxes that were secretly transported to their base caught my attention," the old man says, revealing an important element in his investigation. "Since I had no excuse for entering their territory, I asked Eunhyun to find them and check the content," he concludes, revealing his actions and strategy. The old man asks a question, thinking about it, and if he fired a flare. His words reflect his deep thoughts about the situation. "It means that he found something terrible inside," he continues, growing anxious and tense. "This could be a much more serious problem than the relationship between the Peng clan and the Blood Serpent sect," the old man says, emphasizing the scale and seriousness of the situation. "Maybe they were corpses," he suggests, adding even more intrigue to the situation. Mu-Yan talks about the contents of the boxes, keeping the intrigue alive. He looks calculating and mysterious. The old man suddenly asks the hero, "Who are you really?" His question sounds unexpected and insightful, as if he is trying to understand Mu-En's true nature. Mushin turns to his brother Jan. "Please don't tell anyone about this." He sounds serious and anxious. Jan replies that he is not sure. His expression shows doubt and hesitation. "If this organization you told me to check out is using corpses, it's not something I can keep quiet about," says Yang, emphasizing his concern and duty. "I'm aware of that. That's why I'm asking you to be more discreet," Mushin replies, trying to calm his brother down. "Please keep it a secret for 1 week, or at least a few days," he asks, emphasizing the importance of secrecy. Jan thinks about it. He doesn't like it very much. His expression reflects his inner conflict and dissatisfaction. After finishing his dialogue, Mushin goes to the academy. A girl with fiery eyes runs up to him and says, "You want to leave without even telling the commander?" Mushin replies, "You and me." "Moving in large groups is too slow and visible," explains Mushin. He emphasizes the need for speed and stealth. "Otherwise, we might miss the chance. Moreover, they are the greatest in Hebei. The Peng clan," he adds, emphasizing the importance of this mission. "We have to report it and find some kind of justification. It's not a place we can just barge into just because we found a few bodies," he says, pointing out the need for tact and caution. "Do you remember when I told you to prepare better?" he reminds the girl. The girl is thinking, recalling past events. Her eyes reflect understanding and readiness for action. She recalls a fragment of a conversation with Mu Yen. "So you better get ready. Everything you feel afterwards will be..." His words hint at the serious trials that await her. "It's incredibly hard to endure," she thinks, realizing the scale of the challenges ahead and her own limitations. Mu-En said, "If you want to find the answer to your question yourself, your answer is in there," he adds, leaving her with a hint of where to look for answers. This confused the girl. She wants to find an answer to her question, but she doesn't know where to start. She recalls the words of an elder at the beginning of her journey, "You will find the answer if you follow him." This gives her confidence and direction in her search. She realizes that this is exactly the chance that fate has prepared for her. Her eyes show determination and readiness to accept the challenge. Mu-En tells her, "Get ready and take the sword." His words reflect his support and faith in her strength. She realizes that if she trusts Mu-En, she will be able to cope with the challenges ahead. She smiles, realizing that he is the only one she can trust. Her smile radiates confidence and gratitude. The night was filled with moonlight, creating a mystical and mysterious atmosphere. In one of the places controlled by the evil organization, the wind blows, adding to the tension of the scene. The silhouette of a warrior emerges from the storm as a symbol of an approaching storm or conflict. He was a ninja in a red cloak with one eye damaged. His appearance adds to the atmosphere of mystery and danger. He approaches his cult leader. The cult leader asks, "What brings you here?" His voice is full of curiosity and suspicion. The ninja bends down and answers, "It is I, Ha. I am here to make a request of my master." His voice is full of determination and urgency. The master said, "Go back to your post. I'm not obliged to give an audience to someone like this soldier." His response is restrained and measured. The warrior insisted, "A few days ago I personally fought Muen, the man responsible for the downfall of the Blood Serpent sect." His words catch the head's attention. "He is stronger than we thought. He can become a big obstacle on our way," the warrior adds, emphasizing the potential threat posed by Muen. Because of this, the ninja asks for permission to send his team of assassins to get rid of Mu Yen. He looks determined and persistent. He was told, "We were all ordered to stay out of sight of the coalition." The tone of the response is reserved but firm. "And you have left traces of our organization's existence, not to mention the fact that you failed to kill Muen," they add, emphasizing his failures. "And you have the nerve to ask for forgiveness?" they challenge, emphasizing his desperation and the unacceptability of such an action. The ninja replies, "I am not asking for forgiveness. I am only doing this for our safety." He stands firm, showing his commitment to the mission. The host's assistant points his finger up, which means a decision or an order. The killer appears behind him, ready to complete the task. His figure radiates threat and readiness for action. Having carried out the order, the soldier's head falls off the mountain. This moment demonstrates the cruelty and steadfastness of the enemy organization. Although it seems like the coalition is up to something, there are no movements there except for Cheong So-dan, who are training, says one of the aides, observing the situation. "We have news that Chang Dakin has gone to the Peng residence," he continues, reporting on the developments. "It looks like he went there in case something happened. What should we do with him?" the assistant asks his master. The mysterious owner in a mystical pose answers, "On purpose or not?" His voice hints at deeper thoughts and calculations. "We have to show them that if they point their swords at us, they will suffer much greater losses," the owner replies, emphasizing his readiness for confrontation and aggression. "Pass this on to Chandakna. If all else fails, kill everything that breathes in the Peng residence and burn it to the ground," the master orders. His words radiate cruelty and determination. A falcon is sent to Changdaknu with this message. It flies quickly and confidently, carrying an important message. Chandakan reads the message. "If you can't take it, don't give it to me." His face expresses tension and contemplation. "Prepare a team of assassins within a noon radius of Peng's residence," Changdakan instructs. His team prepares to carry out the order. "The one who shook my hand and the one who is trying to escape from the grip," he continues, hinting at future actions. "It will set a good example for both of them," he says, smiling. His smile is cunning and confident. The academy is in turmoil over the escape. Students and teachers rush about discussing the incident, their faces expressing concern and bewilderment. "The deputy commander has disappeared," one of the academy's masters asks, his eyes expressing surprise and concern. "He is not at the residence. His clothes are there, but he is not there," he is told. The reporters' faces show concern. "And the last time he was seen was last night. After that, he was nowhere to be seen," they add, emphasizing the uncertainty of the situation. The master asks, "Has Han Seojin disappeared too?" He is told, "Her clothes are still there, but her sword is gone." His gaze expresses growing anxiety. "We have looked for them almost everywhere in the coalition, but they are nowhere to be found and no one has seen them," the search team members report, their faces expressing despair and powerlessness. "There is also no record of them leaving through the main gate," they add, emphasizing the mystery of the disappearance. The cook runs up the stairs calling out, "Commander!" His expression reflects urgency and concern. He is holding a note, a piece of paper which he wants to show to the master. His gestures express the urgency and need for attention to this document. Two masters of the academy, concerned about recent events, meet and walk up the mountain together, discussing the incident. Did they become arrogant just because they excelled in training? One of them wonders. The scarred foreman asks, "So they deserted?" His face expresses surprise and disappointment. "We assume that's what they did, given the circumstances, but that's not the problem." The master fidgeted and reached into his pocket. He takes out the note he found in Muen's room and unfolds it to read it. After reading the note, the master exclaims, "The Hebei Peng clan. I think that's where he went. But I have no idea what he was thinking." he reflects, expressing confusion and concern about Muen's motives and plans. The director of the academy says thoughtfully, "What a coincidence." His face reflects reflection and surprise. "I have just received orders from the leader to go to the Hebei Peng clan," he says. This information shocks the second master. "He didn't give any details, but," the director adds, emphasizing the mystery of the situation. The master turns. "He said I had to go for the sake of the coalition." His voice expresses his realization of the importance of the mission. "When are you going to join the clan?" the second master asks, trying to figure out the next steps. We move on to the moment when Mu Yan and the girl run away into the moonlit night. The atmosphere is filled with mystery and a sense of the unknown. The girl supports the hero and runs away with him at night. Their faces reflect determination and desperation. They run, giving it their all, striving for new goals and answers that fate has in store for them. Their movements reflect agility and endurance. Mu Yan looks at the girl and notices that she is tired. His eyes express concern and care. Her face is sweating. Her pupils are dilated, indicating the fear she is experiencing. Her expression reflects an inner struggle. Muen stops abruptly and offers to rest for a while. His gestures express support and a desire to help. When Mu Yan suggests that she rest, she replies, "No need, I'm fine." Her voice sounds confident, but her eyes are tired. But as soon as she closes her eyes, she immediately falls asleep, leaning on the stone. Her expression is relaxed, indicating deep fatigue. Mu Yan watches her and realizes that she is not well. His gaze expresses concern and thought. "What she tells me," he thinks, smiling. His smile shows lightness and understanding. "Although, if you think about it, we didn't rest at all and kept running," he reflects, realizing their relentless movement. "So it's not surprising," he adds, accepting the situation as it is and preparing for further challenges. Sitting in the quiet of the night, the hero asks himself the question, is the reason for his sending to the lion's den the events that happened 20 years ago? His gaze is deep in thoughts and memories. He is overwhelmed by the memories of that battle. His face reflects the pain and reflection as he relives those events in his memory. Moshin was at the height of his powers when that battle took place. His posture and facial expression reflect the confidence and courage of the time. The battle was ruthless and bloody. The depiction of the battle shows the chaos, violence, and indescribable anger that overwhelmed Mushin and his opponents. The scene shows an incredibly fierce battle, where every movement reflects the tension and determination of the fighters. The head of the serpent cult, an extremely strong opponent, fiercely confronts Mushin, the god of war. Both warriors look powerful and relentless. The battle is striking in its epicness. Every blow and movement of the warriors is of great importance. The atmosphere is filled with tension and adrenaline. Mushin delivers blow after blow, demonstrating his unmatched skill and strength. But his opponent is also extremely strong. Each of his strikes is accurate and powerful, making the battle even more intense. They strike each other and fly off in different directions. This moment shows the strength and equality of their struggle. The explosive force of energy flies around, creating an impressive picture. The energy waves and explosions reflect the scale and fury of this battle. This fragment from his past life haunts Muen. He sits in the silence of the night, deep in his thoughts and memories. Mu Yan quietly watches his sleeping partner, his eyes expressing thoughtfulness and a certain concern. As it begins to dawn, the first rays of the sun illuminate their resting place, adding calm and hope to the scene. The girl is still sleeping soundly, looking calm and serene in her sleep. She begins to wake up, gradually returning to reality. Her movements are light and slow, a sign of deep sleep. She sees Muen, who is already on his feet. He asks her, "Did you sleep well?" His voice is gentle and full of concern. The girl suddenly wakes up and asks with a questioning look, "How long have I been asleep?" Her voice is full of surprise and anxiety. "Don't worry, I needed some rest too," Muen replies, reassuring her. He looks refreshed and restored. "But it's time to go," he says, approaching the girl and holding out his hand. His gesture expresses support and readiness for action. She takes his hand, which helps her up. Their mutual assistance emphasizes their common mission and mutual understanding. At that time, in a different place, in a different cult, Mu Yen's friend, who is also part of their mission, is practicing by deflecting his master's blows. His movements look skillful and skillfully coordinated. He skillfully parries every blow of his master, demonstrating his high skill and focus on training. "Please take it easy. I'm here to learn, not to get hurt," Cheong Sung tells the master after another deflected punch, expressing his concern. The master takes a step back after the punch, giving Cheong Sung space and respect. Their postures and expressions show respect and understanding. "I think I've begun to envy your brilliant sword skills, Cheong Seong," the master admits, expressing his admiration and recognition. Jung Sung gratefully thanks him and replies, "I think you're flattering me." His smile reflects modesty and confidence. Master Squire Pan Woo Yoon proudly watches his student. His posture and facial expressions show his pride and satisfaction with Cheon Sung's accomplishments. Cheon Sung is happy that he can maneuver and control the sword well. His face lights up with satisfaction and confidence in his skills. After the training, the master says thoughtfully, "I thought the training would go badly due to lack of preparation, given that the leader changed plans at the last minute. But my brace is off after I saw you practicing. No need to worry," he adds, expressing his satisfaction and relief. Chong Sung replies, "I changed my mind about rejoining the coalition after seeing how hospitable you have been to us." His expression shows gratitude and satisfaction. The master laughed. That's right. His laughter showed warmth and recognition of Cheon Seong's efforts. The boy says enthusiastically, "The Peng clan's sword style is so majestic and ruthless that it made a lasting impression on me." His voice is full of admiration and interest. The master replies, "Cheon Sung, you already know one style of sword, but you speak as if you want to learn the style of the Pan clan." The boy replies that the master reads his mind. Their dialogue reveals a mutual understanding. "The Peng clan style is based on a person's character. It will be difficult for you because you were not brought up here," the master continues, emphasizing the uniqueness and complexity of the clan's style. "Now I'd like to meet someone from the Peng clan to understand the character you're talking about," the boy says, showing his interest and desire to learn. "This is not something you can learn. Too much of anything can be harmful," the master warns, trying to protect the student from possible risks. "Even my brother, who is trying too hard to become the best." Master Squire begins the story, expressing his thoughts and feelings. His friend, the master, interrupts him. "Squire, talking about him to a stranger is a bit..." His tone emphasizes dissatisfaction and caution. Master Squire responds to this reproach. "He is still my proud brother and a noble man. I am not ashamed of him despite what happened." His words reflect his deep affection and loyalty to his family ties. Jong Sung expresses his confusion. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but by brother, do you mean..." He is looking for clarity and understanding in this conversation. The guy wonders if it could be the same person he was thinking about. His face shows thoughtfulness and curiosity. The master leads Cheon Sung into a deep dungeon. The atmosphere is dark and mysterious, illuminated only by the glare of light from the lamps. Due to the rough nature of the warriors of this clan, small conflicts and disputes are quite common, the master explains. His face expresses seriousness and some anxiety. This underground prison is designed for such hotheads. The guy is shocked. "I have never seen such an underground prison in the clan." His expression reflects surprise and incomprehension. Jung Sung is confused by the question of why the master brought him here. He looks thoughtful and anxious. When he asked, the master replied, "Unfortunately, my brother is also here." He sounds sad and disappointed. We see a man chained to a stone. His situation reflects helplessness and suffering. Chains hold the man's arms and legs tightly, restricting any movement. The atmosphere is full of heaviness and despair. The chains hold the man inexorably, emphasizing his powerlessness in the face of his circumstances. His face expresses pain and despair. The master brought Cheon Seong to this place to show him the reality of what he was talking about. The master's expression is serious and thoughtful. Jung Sung asks tensely, "Is this the man you were talking about?" He sounds surprised and worried. "Yes," the master replies to Cheon Seong's question, who stands in shock at what he has seen. "This is the man who became known as the Fierce Blade after he killed countless enemies in the Great Battle of Murem," the master continues, revealing the history and significance of this figure. "My brother," he adds with sadness in his voice, feeling the weight of these words and their personal significance. Chong Sung sees Peng lying in a stone prison, chained up. His face and posture reflect his condition and suffering. Jong Sung is shocked to realize that he is Pan Do-cheon. He looks surprised and shocked as he comprehends this discovery. How could such an incredible person end up here? He thinks, not believing what he is seeing. His face reflects confusion and compassion. "Too much of anything can be harmful," says the master, sharing his wisdom and warning. His face expresses seriousness and sadness. Do Chong was not satisfied with Hebei alone and sought to conquer the whole of Zhongyuan, the master continues, revealing the depth of Do Chong's ambitions. So he began intensive training, the master explains, describing Do Qian's efforts to improve himself. He broke all ties with others and trained until his body began to collapse. "We tried to stop him, but his determination never wavered," says the master, reflecting Do Chong's tragic determination and self-destruction. In the end, he was overcome by cultivation hysteria after excessive training, and now he is like this. the master says bitterly, pointing to his chained brother. These words deeply affected Qian Xiong. Cultivation hysteria. His face showed shock and bewilderment. The chained brother mutters something in his cell, his face distorted with pain and anger. He says someone's name and his voice sounds desperate and full of pain. Suddenly he rushes at his brother. I'm going to kill you. His eyes flash with anger and madness. But he is chained, and his body is pulled back by the cage and chains that restrict his movements and attempts to attack. After the failed attack, he falls back to his seat. His face reflects despair and powerlessness. He is barely alive, but his determination is the only thing left of him. He has gone so crazy that he has even drifted away from me, his own brother, the master says sadly. It was necessary to protect the clan, the master says, justifying his decision to imprison his brother. His voice is filled with a sense of duty and responsibility. Qian Sung expresses his condolences. My condolences, Squire. He looks sad and sympathetic. I'm not showing it to you to seek pity, the master replies, emphasizing his intentions. His face shows seriousness and determination. The prisoner's voice is heard from the cell. The power of blood. These words cause tension in Jongsung. The prisoner continues. I feel the power of blood. They have to be stopped. His voice is full of pain and warning. Jongsung listens carefully to the prisoner's words, pondering their meaning. His face expresses concentration and caution. After leaving the dungeon, Qian Sung says, I'm not showing it to you to seek pity. There is no need to apologize. I know you have good intentions, so please don't worry, replies Qian Sung, showing his understanding and respect for the master's intentions. Of course, that's good. Also, I'll keep my mouth shut about Master Pan Doqian, adds Zhang Sung, expressing his responsibility and caution. Because I'm sure there are people who would want to tarnish his reputation if they knew about his situation, he reflects, emphasizing the potential risks. As expected from a student of the Swordmaster, Sun Wall, you're respectful and insightful. The master expresses his admiration and recognition of Qian Xiong for his wisdom and discretion. Now I'll join my comrades and continue training, says Qiang Sung, showing his determination and commitment to his obligations. After these words, Qiang Sung walks away, his steps full of determination and confidence. The master's assistant turns to him. While you were in prison, we received a message that we were expecting guests. His face expresses concern. The master is confused by this message, his face reflecting surprise and intrigue. Qian Sung is walking down the stairs, thinking deeply. He thinks about the events and the information he has learned. What is this power of blood? He thinks, trying to understand the prisoner's mysterious words. In the cell, the prisoner shouts, the power of blood, the power of blood. His voice is full of pain and madness. He keeps muttering the same thing, the power of blood, reflecting his disturbance and loss of reason. Night has fallen over the clan, creating a quiet and mystical atmosphere. Darkness covers everything, with only the moon illuminating the clan's territory. Zhang Sung is standing on the bank of the river. The reflections of the moonlight play on the water surface, and he looks thoughtful and concentrated. Zhang Sung thinks about the words he heard in the dungeon. His face expresses thoughtfulness and an attempt to understand the deeper meaning of these words. These words haunt him, and he tries to understand their meaning. His eyes are staring into the water, and his thoughts are deep and complex. These words intrigue Zhang Sung, and although they may seem like mere delirium, he feels that they have some meaning. His interest grows, and he tries to find answers to his questions. Qiang Sung recalls the words of his mentor as a child. He asked, can martial artists also suffer from cultivation hysteria? His childlike face expresses curiosity and innocence. The mentor replies, that's why they are able to stop in time. His face expresses wisdom and calmness. But if they make a mistake, even for a moment, continues Qiang Sung in his thoughts. A master never makes a mistake, his mentor interrupts him with confidence and certainty. If they do that, then they are not masters at all, the mentor concludes, emphasizing the importance of skill and self-control. These words haunt Zhang Sung and give him new food for thought. He stares at the water, pondering the connection between these words and the events he recently experienced. Pan Duqian was no doubt a martial arts master. It doesn't make any sense that he would suffer from cultivation hysteria, muses Zhang Sung, his face expressing doubt and suspicion. And it can't be that the squire Pan Wu Young, who said he was one of the best, doesn't know about cultivation hysteria. Qiang Sung adds thoughtfully, sensing that something is wrong here. Why didn't he ask questions about what happened to Pang Doqian and just lock him in the deepest part of the prison? Qiang Sung ponders, his face expressing surprise and suspicion. Qiang Sung recalls how the master used to say, he is barely alive, but his determination is the only thing left of him. He has become so insane that he has even drifted away from me, his own brother. It was necessary for the protection of the clan. Cheon-sung repeats the master's words, but his face expresses doubt and questioning. Jong-sung said, if it was all an act and he was up to something? He sounds doubtful and uncertain. In his head, a shot of the prisoner shouting indignantly pops up, Pang Woo-young, I'm going to kill you. If his anger toward Pang Woo-young was sincere and not the result of madness, Cheong-sung reflects, pondering the prisoner's motives and emotions. I feel the power of blood. They have to be stopped. The prisoner's words echo in Cheong-sung's head, adding intrigue and uncertainty. The master tries to calm Cheon-sung down, saying, don't worry. His face shows calmness and confidence. He's been talking nonsense since he went crazy. The master continues, trying to ease the anxiety. These memories disturb Jong-sung, and he feels that everything is not as it was presented to him. A dark night envelops one of the houses where the lights are on until late. The atmosphere is tense and mysterious. In the building where the fire is burning, people are sitting discussing their plans. Everything is going according to plan and soon it will be over. Their voices are full of confidence and cold calculation. So why did you come here? Asks one of the audience members, his eyes full of suspicion and intrigue. Chan, one of the representatives of the secret clan, called out to the other. His face expresses authority and expectation of a response. Great. If I had known that nothing was going on, I wouldn't have brought Al with me, Chan replies, his voice sounding irritated. Squire Pan, I was planning to watch from the sidelines, another character adds, his face expressing calculation and strategy. But the head ordered me to make sure in person, he says, hinting at the importance of his mission. I think he was worried that we wouldn't be able to handle some brats from Cheongseodan. Don't misunderstand his intentions, he continues, emphasizing the importance of their task. He only sent me because he cares about the Pung clan, he concludes, emphasizing the importance of his mission and the Pung clan. As soon as the blood sky begins, says one of the clan members, his voice sounding mysterious and ominous. The Pan clan will be the starting point of all this, and you will lead it. Think about what that means, he continues, emphasizing the importance of the Pan clan's role in their plans. The starting point, lead it, another clan member repeats, his face expressing determination and ambition. The Pung clan will take everything under its wing, from Hebei to Zhongyuan, he declares, drawing the scope of their influence. Thus the Pung clan will become the most powerful in Zhongyuan, he concludes. Under the starry sky in the courtyard, Jong-sung realizes they revived the Blood Serpent sect, and they've been transporting bodies in secret. If all of this was planned by Squire Pan Woo-yun, he reflects, plunging into deep thought about the conspiracy. But even if it is, I can't do anything right now. If I hastily take a step to reveal Pan Woo-young, I could endanger the entire Cheon-so-dang, he says to himself, realizing the gravity of the situation. Did Yang deliver the message? Cheong-sung suddenly thinks, trying to find possible solutions. If only Mu-yan were here, he sighs, realizing the importance of supporting his friend at this critical moment. Suddenly he hears a strange noise. His eyes are alert, and he turns around to find out the source of the noise. In the darkness, Cheong-sung sees two unknown people approaching him. His face expresses tension and suspicion. What was that? He says to himself, pulling out his sword to defend himself. His eyes are ready for action. He tries to stop the two spies, his stance expressing determination and skill. He jumps onto the roof of the house with a sharp sword, demonstrating his lightness and skill. Attacking the two, he shouts, "Show yourself!" His maneuver expresses speed and strength. His sword strike is countered by a counterstrike. The scene demonstrates the high skill of combat. Jung-sung watches the man who has stood in his way, his gaze filled with surprise and vigilance. It turns out to be a girl with fiery eyes. Her gaze reads with determination and mystery. Mu Yen finally appeared and said, "Looks like we don't need to look for you anymore." His face expresses confidence and satisfaction at the meeting. Jung-sung replies, "We left right after receiving the message from Yang Seogol. I've been waiting for you." His look is one of relief and anticipation. "So you found the bodies in the boxes?" DJKJ Mu Yan asks, glaring at Jung-sung. "So, and not just a few, but a lot," VGKK Jung-sung replies, his face serious and worried. Jung-sung holds the intrigue. That's not all. His expression conveys the importance of what he's about to say. A girl with fiery eyes listens and watches all this, her face expressing attention and interest. Mu Yan turns to Cheon-sung. "Didn't the old man tell you that this girl is on our team now?" His tone is casual and friendly. "She has joined us now," Mu Yen says, emphasizing her importance in their group. The fiery-eyed girl turns to Jung-sung. "That's why I didn't strike the right blow. Consider yourself lucky." There is confidence and a little playfulness in her voice. Jong Sung smiles accordingly. Ha ha! His look expresses relaxation and pleasure from their interaction. VJ Janj, the bodies are kept in an underground vault in the northern mountains. DJ KJ Chong Sung says as he shares the information with Mu Yan. His face expresses seriousness. He is guarded by about 4 soldiers and 1 old man with a bad posture who walks back and forth. He continues, detailing the situation. Might as well sneak in while he's gone, Chong Sung says, mulling over the plan. Mu Yan praises him. Good job, now we'll go and check. Before leaving, Cheong Sung stops Mu Yan, a look of determination on his face. There is one more important detail that he wants to say and make sure. He talks about how he heard about the power of blood from the prisoner Peng Do-chan. This phrase catches Mu Yan's attention. Blood power, he knows what it is. Peng Do-chan was talking about them, that the residence has the power of blood, that they have to be stopped, DJK, Jong Sung says, his expression showing concern. He knows something, Mu Yan remarks, realizing the depth of the situation. Perhaps one of the blood power will be a witness to prove the Peng clan's collusion with them Jia. Chong Sung mused, his face an expression of thought and concentration. After these words, Mu Yan is silent, waiting for Chong Sung to continue. The girl with fiery eyes, not understanding, repeats, Bodies, the power of blood? With whom exactly? She asks, trying to understand the situation. Mu Yan explains, they secretly collected a large number of preserved corpses. In history, there was only one purpose for this. Have you heard of John Shi? He asks. John Shi, Yango, is, roughly speaking, a zombie, but it is also the name given to frozen or desiccated corpses or vampires in Chinese mythology, VDJ. The fiery-eyed girl looks surprised and has never heard of John Shi. Mu Yan begins to explain to her. They are corpses that indiscriminately kill humans or beasts. Their only instinct since awakening is the lust to kill, Mu Yan says, his face serious. The method of creating John Shi is well known, he continues, sharing his knowledge, but their existence is extremely dangerous for everyone. Therefore, this practice is strictly prohibited without any exceptions, EJJKJ Mu Yan adds, his tone warning. There is now a faction outside of Zhongyuan that is creating them and using them as weapons, he says, revealing the extent of the threat. This faction has been trying to infiltrate and take over Zhongyuan for a long time now, VJ+. They are enemies of both the virtuous and the sinful factions. DJKJ concludes Mu Yan. The girl looks scared and sweaty. Just don't tell me that, she replies, feeling scared and worried. The Blood Brotherhood clan is preparing to welcome guests. Sanbez points out hospitality to his servants. Sanbez orders his servants, bring them everything they need. Ale, food, women, whatever. The servants reply, yes, sir. One of the members of the Blood Brotherhood stands on the balcony of a wooden house, thinking about the future. Suddenly, someone jumps on the roof of the house. It's a member of his clan who reports, we've received word that a team of assassins has gathered nearby. Tell them to be alert and ready, he orders. His subordinate replies, yes, sir. The power of blood is ours, he says confidently, feeling the approach of important events. The footage shows the evil leader of the Blood Brotherhood exclaiming, how dare a mere puppet try to take her, what a fool! Against the background of a large hall with candles, the leader stands in thought, his face expressing contempt and indignation. Our heroes, Mu Yan and his comrades, discuss a plan of action. If we hurry, they will close the residence and kill all of us, says one of them. Then they'll make up some lie to cover it up, adds another. Mu Yan replies, therefore secretly go ahead of all the members of Cheongseodan and wait for my signal. The boy understands the instructions, but he has doubts. Can we hold our own against Hebei's mightiest warriors with just the 3 of us in Cheongseodan? He asks. All we need is proof of the Peng clan's connection to the cult. There might not even be a battle, Mu Yan says. But don't worry, even if war breaks out, Mu Yan adds confidently. Yen Chongdan will arrive soon enough. VDJ, he looks confident and ready for action. Under the pretext of arresting Han Seojin and me for desertion, says one of the characters, laying out the plan. A girl with fiery eyes indignantly intervenes in the dialogue. Shh, did you leave a note or something? You said not to tell anyone about it. The guy replies, well, whatever, if Master Du-won and Yan Chong-dan come, we might have a chance even in the war. Our main task is to confirm the existence of the bodies, and then ping to Cheon, he continues. The guy cautiously says, be careful, Mu Yan. He also addresses the girl, and you too be careful. At this point, they go on a mission. Only a shadow flashed before the boy's eyes, hinting at a possible threat. Sitting in ambush near the dungeon, the girl wants to ask Mu Yan a question. The hero says thoughtfully, I'm a little scared of one mention of their existence. but there will be evidence of their conspiracy with the Pain Clan to help me find the answer I'm looking for. DJ KJ. At this moment, he suddenly covers the girl's mouth with his hand, signaling the need to be silent. Elders pass by, one of them exclaims indignantly, "Damn old man, does he consider us his personal servants?" I don't know how many times I wanted to use my blade against him. Mu Yen reassures the girl, "Now just concentrate on your duties as a member of Yencheong Dan." The girl agrees with this and nods in response. They inspect the entrance to the tunnel and see 3 guards. Sitting behind a stone, they discuss the infiltration plan. "It won't be an easy task to avoid being noticed and causing alarm," says Mu Yen thoughtfully. Mu Yen and his partner stand at the entrance to the dungeon. This is exactly the place they were looking for. They need to get inside, but there are guards ahead. Mu Yen carefully takes the stone in his hand. He tells his partner to get ready and signal when it's time to act. Mu Yen throws a stone in the opposite direction from the entrance, making a loud noise against the tree. The guards immediately react to the sound, turning their attention in that direction. One of the guards says, "Did you hear that? Maybe it was a rabbit?" Another guard replies, "Yakchin said he saw rabbits in the area. Shut up and check." While the guards are distracted and investigating the source of the sound, Mu Yen and his partner seize the moment and sneak in through the entrance. Mu Yen and his partner carefully descend the steps deep into the dungeon. The girl immediately feels a sharp, unpleasant smell. She grimaces, uttering, "Phew, what a terrible smell." Mu Yen explains, "It's incense to hide the smell of corpses and slow down their decay." They come across a huge number of crates that look suspicious. The girl is amazed and shocked by the discovery, not believing her eyes. Mu Yen opens one of the boxes to check. The girl is amazed by what they found inside the box. Mu Yen carefully pulls the body out of the box for further analysis while the girl watches. Mu Yen carefully places the corpse on the ground in the dungeon, which creates tension in the scene. The girl, standing next to him, watches his actions with interest and anxiety. He examines the body, looking for any unusual markings or symbols. Mu Yen's face turns serious as he ponders the meaning of these marks and how it relates to the mystery of the blood cult. Mu Yen is surprised to note that there are no signs of transformation or other supernatural changes on the bodies. Crude tools, similar to surgical saws and other medical equipment, are spread out on the table next to the bodies. Mu Yen, looking at the tools, expresses surprise. Well, what does it all mean? The old head of the guards, having reached the dungeons, shouts to his subordinates, "Never leave your post!" He angrily rehearses, "How many times do you have to repeat that?" The guards are outraged by his words, complaining about themselves. "Cursed old man!" The old man enters. His steps echo in the corridors. The girl whispers to Mu Yen, "Someone is coming." Mu Yen quickly analyzes the situation, thinking, "VJN, this must be the old man Un Heng mentioned." DJ KJ. The old head of the guards, unsuspecting, inspects the dungeon. His face expresses calmness and attentiveness. Mu Yen suddenly jumps out of the shadows and grabs the old man by the neck, showing agility and determination. Mu Yen pins the old man to the floor, giving him the upper hand in physical strength and control of the situation. The old man, being captured by Mu Yen, asks, somewhat surprised and wary, "Who are you?" Mu Yen, holding the old man with a look of determination and menace on his face, says, "Come on, don't joke or I'll snap your neck." The old man, in a captive position, answers with caution and slight fear, "You lie, the outcome will be the same." Mu Yen concentrated his thoughts. "I got the impression that you plan to create Jianshi from corpses, but these crude tools are not suitable for the job." Mu Yen, with a hint of disdain in his voice, continued, "VDJNJ, not to mention that Jianshi can only be created in places with an abundance of dark energy, such as the Great Dark Lands, VJJ Hua. The dark energy here is as pathetic as you." Mu Yen, still holding the old man, says, "I can guess what's going on, but I need to confirm it." "What the hell are you up to?" The old man, confused and frightened, replies, "All these Jianshi and all that, I have no idea." The old man, showing an expression mixed with fear and despair, declares, "I'm just doing as I'm told because they promised to pay me handsomely." Mu Yen, with a menacing expression on his face, insists, "VDJ, what did I say I would do if you lied?" GAKJ, confused, the old man admits that it is true. The old man, with an uplifted expression on his face, continues, "When the bodies arrived, I was told that I could command the soldiers under the squire." The old man, looking desperate, continues, "And I was ordered to make them stand guard, and that no one should enter." Mu Yen, with a serious look, insistently asks, "Who started all this?" He continues to press down on the old man's neck, showing his determination to get answers. But the old man never gave an answer, remaining silent. Mu Yen thoughtfully states, "They brought all these bodies to create the appearance of what the Jianshi are doing." Mu Yen, with a look of shock and disbelief on his face, exclaims, "They brought all these bodies to make it look like they are doing Jianshi." He continues, looking thoughtful. I don't even want to imagine how they managed to collect so many bodies. Mu Yen concludes, it looks like the Jianshi were a decoy to get the Peng clan to commit treason and let the coalition get rid of them. Thinking, Mu Yen wonders, if the squire was on their side, they could do whatever they wanted with the Peng clan. So why? With doubt in his voice, he says, I don't know what they're up to, but Mu Yen says seriously, recently the Murim benevolent faction has been increasing its ranks without properly vetting new members, and the coalition is not powerful enough to unite the entire Murim benevolent faction. Faijianji, if the Peng clan is eliminated in its current state of affairs, BJ Pla, it may lead to a split in Murim's benevolent faction. DJJK. Coalition actions are always accompanied by misunderstandings and discontent. There have been numerous cases where this has almost led to rebellion. It is likely that this is exactly what will happen if the Peng clan is eliminated. Those who express dissatisfaction with the coalition will lead the rebellion. Faijianji, if that's what they're up to, BJ, we have to stop the coalition from getting rid of the Peng clan. DJK. The girl asks, and how do we do it? Mu Yen with an expression of determination. I have a plan. They go to the dungeon where the master is imprisoned. Everyone said he was crazy, but he wasn't. Gathering his team, Mu Yen declares his decision with a determined look. If this is what they are up to, we must stop the coalition from getting rid of the Peng clan. A girl with fiery eyes, a member of his team, asks with uncertainty, how can we do this? Mu Yen, with a thoughtful expression on his face, looks inspired. I have a plan. We must act wisely and carefully. The team carefully descends into the dungeon where the master is imprisoned. The master, imprisoned and confused, lies on the ground. He looks suspiciously at Mu Yen and his team. The imprisoned master asks, who are you? Why are you here? Mu Yen answers confidently, I am Deputy Commander Yang Cheong Dan of the Murim Coalition, Mu Yen. Mu Yen addresses the imprisoned master. I am here to save you. In the dark evening, at the entrance to the secret dungeon, their boss approaches the guards with a basket of food. He smiles. Squire ordered me to bring you this as a special lunch. The guards look surprised and happy at the same time. One of the guards, enjoying his meal, suddenly stops and asks, but we have been ordered to refuse all visitors. Who gave this order? The chief thinks with interest. Another guard, after swallowing a piece, replies, the order came from the squire's servants. The boss looks confused because he knows very well that the squire has no servants. The chief, excited and indignant, exclaims, he has no servants. What is this senseless lie? He has realized something is wrong and looks ready to take action. Entering the cave, the chief and guards discover the old man's body, lying lifeless on the cold ground. Everyone stands around the body, shocked by its sudden appearance. The guards are shocked, discussing among themselves, this means that someone got in here and found out our secrets. They are worried and confused to realize that their security lock has been breached. We see the hero, Mu Yen, freeing an old master imprisoned by his own brother for exposing the truth. The chained old master speaks in a tired but determined voice. They offered me a tempting deal. The old master continued indignantly, Virginia to become Gro, the strongest clan in Zhongyuan. He cautiously explains to Mu Yen, but I exposed their true intentions and rejected their offer. They are more dangerous than meets the eye. Master sadly recalls his brother, but my brother, the fool Peng Wu Yun, accepted their offer. The old master continues bitterly. He conveyed our authority to them and left me here in this state, rejected and forgotten. He sighs heavily. Blood power, that's what they call themselves. This is the cult of blood, the old master explains, his eyes radiating knowledge and a deep understanding of the terrible truth. Mu Yen ponders, tensing up at the new information. He realizes that he has a great challenge ahead of him, which will require all his skill and intelligence. The scene unfolds in the headquarters of the cult of blood. The head of the cult receives disturbing news. Their specialist who dealt with bodies in the dungeon is dead. His face shows concern and anger. The servants who found the specialist's body report the details. His neck is broken. It's definitely not Cheong Sung Dan's handiwork. The cult leader freaks out, his face contorted with fear and anger. He understands that the Brotherhood of Blood is in danger, and it has come at the worst possible time. He orders his servants to arm themselves and immediately go in search of the uninvited guests. His orders are strict and urgent. The cult leader loudly demands his sword, "Bring my blade!" His voice is full of determination and readiness to act. Armed and determined, the cult leader leads his warriors in search of enemies. They move into the darkness, ready to face an unknown threat. The leader of the blood cult issues orders to his soldiers, "Search every corner. Find those two, a man and a woman." His face reflects determination and urgency. The soldiers march into the night city with a mission to find and punish the uninvited guests who have infiltrated the dungeons. They move fast and coordinated. armed to the teeth. Patrols check every street, looking every nook and cranny. Their faces are masks of concentration. Soldiers search every district of the city, looking into every nook and cranny. The streets are filled with tension and anticipation. There is little time for searching. Every minute counts. The soldiers quickly and methodically comb the city, trying to find the mysterious intruders. Students of the academy observe the search for soldiers sitting on a platoon. They are full of anxiety and curiosity, watching the movement of street patrols. Students ask each other questions, trying to understand what is happening. Their eyes reflect concern and uncertainty about what caused such a stir. A young warrior from Cheongsong-dan stands on the roof of a house in the night city, watching the movement of Peng clan warriors. He wonders if this is the signal from the deputy commander mentioned earlier. The look of the warrior expresses doubt. He wonders if this activity corresponds to the expected signal. His face reflects indecision and an analytical mind. Clan Pen warriors move around the city in formed groups. Their actions seem purposeful and organized, suggesting a specific purpose. A representative of the Blood Brotherhood receives a report on the actions of the Clan Pen warriors. He listens carefully, analyzing the information received. His face reflects attention and alertness. The face of the representative of the Brotherhood of Blood reflects pleasure and cunning. He suggests that perhaps the coalition has finally made its move. A representative of the Brotherhood of Blood gives the order to send a signal to the team of assassins. His gestures and facial expressions reflect determination and team spirit, readiness for action. The dungeon master, looking despondent, tells Mu-En that there is no hope for the Peng clan because of their cooperation with the blood cult. He looks upset and disappointed. Mu-En retorts firmly to the master, claiming that only Peng Wu-yun and his followers cooperate with the blood cult. He stands with a confident expression on his face. Mu-En continues, emphasizing that the Peng clan has been tricked. On his face, an expression of confidence in his words. Mu-En says that without confirmation of the master's health, they cannot verify this information. He stands thoughtful and focused. Mu-En expresses confidence that they can change the Peng clan and bring it back to the right path. He looks determined and optimistic. Master looks at Mu-En in disbelief. His face shows confusion and doubt. Security is combing the area, looking for intruders. They look at every corner and act quickly and efficiently. The guards reach the dungeons and see that someone has knocked out their colleagues. They are shocked and worried. Clan Chief Pen is horrified to realize that something bad has happened. His face reflects panic and fear. Master asks Mu-En if Cheongsong-dan is here too. Mu-En replies that there are about 10 of them. His face shows readiness for action. Moon-yen carries the master through the dungeons, promising to protect him. His face shows determination, but in his eyes, one can read a lack of confidence in his abilities. They reach the exit, but there is an obstacle in their way. Moon-yeon and his partner watch this with concern. Moon-yeon calls out the name of the obstacle loudly, warning her partner of the danger. His face shows anxiety. Opening his eyes, Moon-yen sees the head of the Peng clan in front of him. His face shows surprise. The head of the Peng clan angrily accuses Moon-yeon of thwarting the Peng clan's plans. His face radiates anger. The chairman asks Moon-yeon who he is and why he came here. His face shows surprise and suspicion. The master on Moon-yen's shoulders calls out Peng Yun's name. This is the name of his brother who imprisoned him. The master's face shows indignation. Moon-yen demands that the head of the Peng clan back down. He looks confident and determined. Moon-yeon warns the head of the Peng clan that if he does not back down, he may lose his miserable life. His face shows seriousness. Moon-yeon verbally attacks the head of the Peng clan, recalling his failed deception. Moon-yen's face shows sarcasm and challenge. These words make the head of the Peng clan mad. He can't understand how such a worthless person has the audacity to say such a thing. On his face, fury and incomprehension. Moon-yen steps forward, addressing the head of the Peng clan, demanding, "Get out of the way, Squire Peng. You stand in the way of justice and truth." Moon-yeon holds his sword ready for battle, his words firm. "If you value your life, you'd better get out of my way. We won't let you manipulate others anymore." The head of the Peng clan explodes in anger. "How dare you tell me that? You are no one to instruct me." He doesn't seem ready to back down. Moon-yeon replies confidently, "Your actions are no longer a secret to anyone, Squire Peng. Everyone knows of your crimes and treachery." Feridian Jiayu quickly shut down the Blood Snake sect's investigation and secretly transported the bodies. DJKJ Moon-yen continues, pointing to a deeper conspiracy. "Now all your secrets will come out." The head of the Peng clan responds with annoyance at Moon-yen's words. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Bewilderment and anger can be read in his eyes. Moon-yen addresses an angry Squire Pen. "Control your emotions. Don't let anger cloud your understanding." You've been used by the blood cult all these years, declares Moon Yen. The head of the Pen clan was surprised by these words. Squire Pen snaps, "Shut up, don't you dare interrupt me." He looks extremely annoyed and confused. You broke into the residence, wreaked havoc, and now you've kidnapped my brother Peng Do-chan. Death will be too easy a punishment for you. Enough of your nonsense, shouts Squire Pan angrily. Squire Peng's brother, Peng Do-chan, a prisoner, appeals to him. Stop talking nonsense, aren't you ashamed of your actions? Moon-yan coldly replies, if you think it's all a lie, you can see for yourself. There is confidence in his voice. Moon-yan coolly replies to Squire Pen, you can verify the truth by meeting Chang Dan of the blood cult. His words sound challenging. Moon-yen's words make Squire Pen angry. He is ready to shatter this scoundrel's world, his face filled with anger. Squire Pen draws his sword, which glows with energy. He prepares for battle, his eyes shining with determination. Moon-yen, seeing that Squire Peng is preparing for battle, realizes that in front of him is a really big fool who does not want to understand the truth. Enough of these lies! DJKJ Squire Pan shouts, activating his chakra, which emits a powerful energy. Moon-yan turns to his partner, unsure of his next steps in his eyes. He whispers to her, take the master away as soon as the battle begins. He's preparing for the inevitable confrontation. Squire Pen points his sword at Moon-yen and declares feverishly, no one escapes. He looks ready to fight until the end. Before us is Moon-yi, whose gaze is full of caution and prudence. He carefully studies the head of the clan, as if he is looking for something elusive in him. And here's the unexpected twist. Moon-yan responds with a smile, radiating confidence and composure. This gesture only increases the squire's anger in this heated moment. Squire finds himself at a loss. He cannot understand what motivates his opponent, and this ignorance only sharpens his anger. And then, filled with rage, the squire rushes into the attack. He fiercely promises to cut Moon-yen in half, rushing into battle with an indescribable thirst for victory. The squire, armed with a sword and full of burning energy, rushes towards Moon-yen, trying to deliver a decisive blow with the sword. Right after dodging, Moon-yen activates his energy and punches Squire's chest with all his might, taking advantage of the moment of surprise. The blow is so powerful that Squire is sent flying 10 meters away, losing control of his body. Hitting the dungeon wall, the squire causes a great noise and collapse, sending a cloud of dust and shards across the dungeon. Moon-yan, acting as leader, orders her partner to evacuate the old master from the dungeon immediately, emphasizing the urgency and importance of this mission. Moon-yan's partner does not hesitate to carry out his orders, showing her dedication and efficiency in a critical situation. During the escape, the old master, distraught, turns to the girl with the question, can Moon-yen handle Squire, the martial artist, on his own? The girl, concentrating on the mission, tells the master that it is more important to think about his own safety now than the battle. She adds that even an old master wouldn't stand a chance against an opponent like this guy, acknowledging his incredible strength and skill. Getting up from the powerful blow, Squire realizes that he underestimated Moon-yan. His eyes read an admission of error and a new level of respect for his opponent. The squire mentions that because of Moon-yan's young age, he saw him as easy prey, but now he realizes that he was wrong. He analyzes the situation. If Moon-yen dared to take such a desperate step, then he has the necessary skills and courage, Squire thinks. With these thoughts, the squire charges again, determined not to back down and prove his superiority. These aggressive tactics don't throw Moon-yen off balance. He keeps his cool and is ready for the next move. The squire delivers a powerful sword strike, but Moon-yen dodges again, showing impressive agility and intuition. This only infuriates the squire, but he notices Moon-yen trying to flank him, maintaining a tactical advantage. While swinging his sword, Squire suddenly sees Moon-yen's fist appear in front of him with incredible speed. That blow is so fast that despite Squire's attempts to block it, he doesn't have time to do so. Due to the powerful energy of both fighters, they push away from each other, creating a gap between them. The squire, focusing on the battle, grins, clenching his teeth, as if feeling a rush of strength and adrenaline. He activates his skill Tiger Gate Cut, Soul Eater, as he prepares to strike decisively. At this time, Moon-yen, without wasting a second, rises to his feet, ready to continue the fight. Using his nuclear power, Moon-yen pushes off the concrete with his other foot, showing his incredible physical strength and readiness for the next strike. Moon-yen enters his God of War state, activating the first level of his hidden power. The two mighty warriors meet in a decisive clash, dealing blows to each other. Moon-yen's hand hits directly at Squire's sword, creating a moment of tension and determination. From this powerful blow, the squire himself and his sword fly away, as if thrown back by an invisible force. The squire finds himself shocked at this turn of events, unable to understand how this is possible. He's thinking, how did this guy with his bare hands manage to knock my sword away? The squire reminds himself that his great soul eater technique has always been extremely strong, but this guy just knocked him away with his fist. Moon Yen, clenching his powerful fist, turns to the squire with an ironic question. Is your blade rusted? He continues, did you just relax? Finally, Moon Yan, with a faint smile, asks Squire, is it because I'm young? Moon Yan continues to speak an uncomfortable truth that seems to cut Squire's ears, causing him to be internally conflicted. He turns to Squire. Of course you are better than all of these, because Squire, the strongest in the Zhongyuan clan, cannot be so weak. These words strike the squire deeply, evoking a powerful emotional response in him. Filled with rage and indignation, the squire vows to tear Moon Yen to pieces and kill him, activating all his power for the battle ahead. Let's go back to when Moon Yen ordered his partner to retreat as soon as the fight started. She takes the master, and together they move to the exit, realizing the criticality of the situation and the need for quick action. As they leave, the master warns the girl that the squire could most likely bring the Link and other fighters with him. He notes that Squire's followers are probably guarding the prison on the upper level. To this, the girl retorts emphatically that they have no choice or way but to keep moving forward. The master, during their retreat, asks the girl if she can handle this situation on her own, expressing her fears and insecurities. As they approach the prison exit, they see that the exit is guarded by soldiers standing guard. The warriors suddenly notice a beautiful girl and the master behind her, surprised that someone has come out of prison. It makes them wonder, if they got out, what happened to the squire? That question remains unanswered. The head of the guards, reacting to the situation, shouts to his subordinates to detain the girl and the master, raising the alarm. The warriors, preparing to attack, jokingly comment that they would not want to spoil the girl's beautiful face, showing a certain contempt and confidence. But suddenly, behind the girl, a loud shout is heard, "Stop!" The sound seems to tear the air. This cry causes dissonance among the warriors, as it seems to them unexpected and forgotten. Warriors recognize this voice, which brings a certain confusion and uncertainty to their ranks. This is the voice of a famous master, known for his power and reputation, who is able to change the course of events with his unexpected appearance. The warriors are very surprised to recognize this master as Pyong Dochian, a person they did not expect to meet here. The commander of the warriors, admitting confusion, says, "Shit, I thought it was just this girl's partner." Master Pyong Dochiang addresses the soldiers. "You may not recognize me in this state, but I'm sure you will recognize my voice." The warriors, in shock, look intently at the master, trying to make sense of the situation. One of the warriors, expressing his surprise, says, "I heard you can't move a single muscle because of cultivation hysteria." When asked by the warriors about his condition, Master Pyong Dochang confidently replies, "As you can see, I am not suffering from what you are talking about." However, the warriors interrupt the master, saying, "Don't listen to this man," trying to devalue his words. One of the warriors declares, he was struck by cultivation hysteria and lost his personality in a state of madness. They add that despite this, the squire tried to protect the master's reputation by hiding the truth from everyone. These accusations deeply upset the master, and he turns to Jung-un for support and understanding. The master accuses Jung-un, stating, "That's all the blood cult dog told you to do," indicating manipulation and betrayal. In response, Jung-un accuses the master of killing innocents, stating, "You stated that they were members of the blood cult. It seems you still haven't come to your senses." Warriors regretfully comment on the situation. What a pity that you, who could have become the strongest, now find yourself in this state. They keep saying, "You're supposed to be the strongest, but look at you now." Enraged by these words, the master yells at Jung-un, "Yun Jung, ah, you bastard," feeling betrayed and outraged. The girl, sensing the helplessness of the situation, speaks decisively. "That's enough. It's clear that they're not going to listen to you anymore," emphasizing the futility of trying to influence the warriors. The head of the warriors, taking decisive action, issues the order, "Take Pyong Du-cheong and capture the girl, dead or alive," presenting them with a crucial choice. Warriors, full of determination, charge, ready for battle. The girl, with her sword drawn, has no doubts about her strength. She is ready to face them. With incredible ease and grace, she jumps high up, flying over the heads of the warriors. Her eyes begin to glow like a night echo, reflecting her inner strength and determination. She lands by surprise, and her sword instantly pierces the first warrior, showing her skill and effectiveness in battle. This greatly surprised the chief of warriors. The girl turned out to be a real warrior with a sharp sword. From his own experience, he recognized in their sword style the marks of a great master. The warriors seemed to think it was just a joke at first, but then they realized that this woman is a real mystery. "Ah, she is a bitch," they shouted, feeling a great threat. The woman had no mercy. She cut them one by one like a knife in butter, sweeping away the enemies like old thaws. The woman's eyes were blazing with energy. Her strength was limitless, and she won through the unstoppable willpower and incredible energy that emanated from her. The warriors rushed at her, one after the other, attacking with determination. But she skillfully blocked their blows, responding to each move with cold calculation. She counterattacked by hitting them with the heads of her legs like a hyper-fast dancer, targeting her enemies' vulnerable spots. She soared above them, striking enemies with great force, then bounced off their bodies, changing strategy like a stage artist. Her sword pierced the air past yet another warrior, dealing deadly blows, and he fell to the ground, powerless. She left their lives without the slightest feeling of pity, surrendering to the battle with all cruelty. However, one warrior, after he adjusted his jaw, felt the need to say something. However, the girl's sword cut him in two, ending his words in an instant. She was not only deadly but also extremely dangerous, distinguished by incredible dexterity and courage. The leader of the warriors gritted his teeth, realizing the hopelessness of his warriors in front of a single girl. The leader of the warriors holstered his sword, preparing for the final confrontation. The other warriors marveled at the skill of this girl, who was a true martial artist. The fiery red head and sword emitted a crimson aura, painting a picture of hell in this living battle. The defeat came with more shock to the chief, as he felt that he had seen the same aura somewhere before but couldn't pinpoint the source. Finally, in the heat of battle, he remembered the story of the ancient prophecy, and his heart sank at the incredible revelation. One of the warriors expertly activated the powerful technique of VD slashing the Tiger Gate 5 times, DJJ, sending a series of swift and deadly blows at the girl. He also activated a roll of thunder, with the direction of the powerful energy aimed straight at the girl, trying to strike her with the force of nature. The girl withstood the powerful blow, her aura protecting her from the devastating effects, and the lumps of fireplaces flew apart from the impact, creating chaos and dust. The warrior believed that after such a strong blow, the girl would definitely not be able to stand on her feet, but he was very wrong. The girl remained enveloped in her aura and felt invulnerable to powerful blows as she continued to fight. Carrie's eyes glow with an unrelenting fire, reflecting her unwavering determination. She grips the sword tightly in her hands, ready for battle. Before her stands a powerful opponent who causes her a feeling of tension and challenge. Carrie confidently addresses his enemy with a hint of mockery in his voice. "You are too proud of your swordsmanship for a mere lackey." She exclaims indignantly, "What? Here's a bitch." She is fully ready for a fight. Her words are full of challenge and undisguised aggression. Carrie prepares to teach her enemy a harsh lesson, determination and cold calculation reflected in her gaze. The enemy draws his sword as he prepares to engage, his movements confident and menacing. He looks ready for battle, his eyes radiating killing intent, creating a tense atmosphere, and moves with incredible speed, like the light of the sun, spinning around his opponent, showing off his incredible fighting skills. Her speed and maneuverability make her almost unattainable for the enemy, who cannot keep up with her movements, which gives the impression of her superiority in battle. The enemy, pelting Carrie with a bunch of insulting words, tries to hit her, but his attempts seem fruitless. He realizes that Carrie is an opponent who can surpass him in strength and skill. This causes him a feeling of despair. In an attempt to intimidate her, he calls Carrie a rat, in an attempt to humiliate her. But these words do not infuriate Carrie. She keeps her cool and decides to fight him back in action, showing her superiority. Her decisive strike causes the black blood of the enemy to fly around, emphasizing the brutality and intensity of the battle. The enemy is mortally wounded by Carrie, her sword penetrating his shoulder, slicing through his body. Looks at him with a sense of victory, her gaze steadfast and confident. The opponent falls to the ground powerless, resembling a defeated rat. An even greater fire appears in Carrie's eyes, reflecting her determination and willingness to continue the fight. The face of the main enemy who was watching the battle contorts in shock and anger. He can't believe that Carrie killed his servant. The enemy, with tension in his voice, recounts his experience. "In the Shivan Mountains, I fought against people who used the same sword style as you." This reveals the premise of his knowledge and experience. A master of the mage style, Carrie possesses one of the strongest sword fighting styles, making her a particularly dangerous opponent. Feels confused, and it would seem even afraid of her. But at the same time, he's ready to fight to the end, even if it means his death. Carrie prepares to reveal something important, her face full of determination and willingness to share her secret. With pride and confidence, she declares, "I'm a member of Yongcheongdan." This discovery can change the course of the battle and its perception by the enemy. The enemy's face shows only surprise at Kari's discovery of her affiliation with Yongcheongdan. It completely overpowers any other emotion. Maoshin, another key figure, also watches this duel closely, his gaze piercing and focused. A strange energy begins to appear around the enemy, hovering in the air and giving the situation even more tension. This energy is probably the embodiment of his anger and desire to win at any cost. A blue electric force appears around his sword, emphasizing his growing power and readiness for decisive combat. The power of electrical energy surrounding the enemy is so great that it seems to be able to pierce even rocks, showing its extreme power. His clothes, under the influence of this powerful energy, appear to be electrified, sparkling and shimmering in the air. Maoshin, despite the tense situation, maintains his usual calm demeanor, his face expressing coolness and control. The atmosphere around takes on the appearance of the beginning of a huge and significant battle, filled with anticipation and tension. The enemy uses his power to perform the five-fold tiger slashing technique, showing his skill and intent to defeat Carrie at all costs. Expertly wields a sword like a magic wand from which powerful energy radiates. His movements are full of power and grace, as if every blow turns into a magical act. Mushin watches the battle, standing steadfast and calm, as if it were an ordinary day, and he was not affected by the surrounding tension. Pushing off the ground with his foot, the enemy gains height, preparing for the next decisive action. Gathering his strength, the thief takes the first step towards Mushin, signaling the start of his attack. Jumps high into the air, preparing to deliver a powerful blow. His movements are quick and deft, reflecting his readiness for battle. The thief's sword almost touches the young warrior's face, creating a tense and dangerous atmosphere. Its sharp blade gleams dangerously close to Mushin. A powerful, evil energy is felt from the thief, which covers the environment with a wave of negativity, making the atmosphere even more tense. In response, the young warrior of good raises his protective aura, creating a counterbalance to the evil that surrounds him. His will to fight becomes even stronger. Under Mushin's feet, the earth and stones begin to crack and scatter, reflecting the intensity of his power and energy. Mushin's fist is filled with incredible power, acquiring the ability to deliver a devastating blow. His determination and strength become palpable to everyone around him. Maoshin deftly deflects the attack by striking directly at the thief's sword blade, showing his incredible skill and precision. As a result of the force of the blow, the enemy flies back, losing balance and control over the situation. His body crashes into the wall with force, shattering it and creating an additional effect of destruction and chaos in the scene. Maoshin's energy is filled with strength. He becomes even more powerful and confident in his superiority over the enemy. From tension and exhaustion, steam is released from Mushin's mouth, reflecting the intensity of his internal struggle and physical exertion. The thief's sword, thrown by the force of Mushin's blow, hits the stone as if symbolizing his defeat and the impossibility of further fighting. The assassin, like Mushin, also breathes out steam, feeling the physical exhaustion and emotional pressure of facing such a powerful opponent. He exclaims in amazement, "You were able to form a protective aura strong enough to fend off the thunderclap blade?" This shows his admiration and respect for Mushin's strength. Confused and shocked, the thief asks, Who the hell are you?" Mushin confidently and coolly answers, "You don't have to know that." His words exude confidence and mystery, leaving his true identity a mystery. He continues with unwavering confidence, "After all, you won't live to see the next day." These words reflect his determination and confidence in ending the battle quickly. The killer, outraged and shocked, exclaims, "You!" expressing fear. He continues as if not believing in Mushin's courage, "How dare you!" At this moment, his sword suddenly lights up even more brightly, reflecting the growth of his anger and power. Despite his confidence, is shocked by this sudden increase in the power of the enemy's sword, sensing that the battle is gaining momentum. Asks who you are. At the first moment when the mysterious figure appeared before him, he began to feel wary and worried. Gets an answer. He doesn't necessarily know. The figure answers in a way that doesn't disappoint his expectations, but raises more questions than it answers. Because he's unlikely to live until the next day. Asking the heathen about her identity becomes more of a mystery when he realizes that his life may be in danger, and that threat looms large in front of him. An even stronger electrical impulse flares up around him. Now the thief begins to understand that this mysterious creature is not only a threat to his life, but also a great mystery that must be solved in order to survive. Mushin, standing in the center of events, feels unprepared and surprised, as this situation has gone far beyond his expectations. The sword plunges into the ground. The deep thrust of the sword into the ground creates a vulnerable moment in an intriguing plot, emphasizing the significance of this action. The face of the killer is very tense. The expression of intense tension on the face of the killer adds an element of mystery and reinforces the importance of his role in the events. He doesn't care about how strong he is. The assassin reveals himself in an unusual way, announcing that his strength is no longer his main feature, and this makes him a larger and more mysterious character. I wonder where he gets so much power. The mystery surrounding the origin of the killer's power creates an extra layer of intrigue. Mushina barely withstands the power of the killer, emphasizes his constant threat, and raises questions about the survival of the main character in the story. The rocks overhead crack, breaking the impenetrable silence of the cave, and the sense of danger becomes much more real. They are in a cave, a place where time is stopped, and where even one unfortunate movement can reveal the source of terrible events. Rocks begin to fall, seemingly mercilessly, increasing the tension and panic in the middle of this dark trap. In front of the killer, he is surrounded by more and more falling rocks, and he tries to get out of this trap, but the possibility of this seems incredible. It seems that he may be stuck there, and only a brave act or a miraculous accident can save him from this bottomless underground labyrinth. His last words are prophetic and gloomy, that Mushina will not survive, and they sound in the cave like the news of death. These are probably his last words, and they hang in the air, as silent as a curtain after the end of a dramatic act. Mushina throws stones, throwing him away from her in a last-ditch effort to survive under this deadly tablet of time. Laughing, the criminal runs out of the cave, feeling victorious, but he does not yet know what awaits him soon. The sound echoes throughout the mountain, loud and mystical, like a sign of impending danger. This sound promises the most unexpected resolution in this incredible story. At the exit of the cave, someone is heard approaching, and it sounds like footsteps in the deepest darkness. The dust gets all the way here, and the tension builds as the mysterious figure approaches. He emerges from the dust, appearing in front of the main characters as a figure shadowed by a bold look. Wiping the mud from his eyes, he reveals his story, and let it be unexpected and confusing. Turning his head back, there is only one thing on his mind: determination and an important mission that has linked their destinies on this extraordinary journey. He thinks he has won, rejoicing in his temporary victory, confident in his actions. But turning his head to the exit, he notices something that strongly affects him, and fear again begins to throw out from the depths of his soul. There are many corpses on the ground, and he understands that this is a terrible picture that reveals the scale of the tragedy before him. Realizing that this is the girl, he can no longer put aside the impression of his encounter with an extraordinary fortune-teller. She even killed Yoon Cheon-dan of the Yeonjun Coalition, and this highlights her incredible strength and deadly essence. He lies on the floor with no strength at all, feeling his strength leave his body after the brutal encounter. The girl has great talent if she can cope with such opponents, and her strength and skill become a source of wonder and admiration for him. The killer thinks that she needs to take revenge, and after meeting the girl, he realizes that this task will be extremely difficult. Yen Cheong-dan was a friend to him, and his loss makes revenge all the more imperative. Events escalate to the coalition of students, and an earthquake begins there, endangering not only their lives, but also the fate of the entire world, destroying the usual reality and calling everything into question. Looking out the window, they don't understand why this incredible earthquake started, but fear is already in their hearts. The earthquake ends, but its consequences and threat remain in the air, a reminder of the vulnerability of this world. This is a signal that everyone should prepare for the unknown, prepare themselves for the most incredible tests. They go outside, where everything breathes the extraordinary, and the atmosphere is filled with tension and anticipation. The young man asks them to avoid unnecessary encounters when the gate opens, and the plan is to group them with Yeon Cheong-dan to face new challenges and threats together. The young men notice someone on the floor, and this unexpected discovery immediately causes them to group together, doing their best to solve this mystery. They almost start beating the one lying on the ground, feeling anger and indignation, but one of them realizes that this may be a too hasty reaction. It turns out that Lady Han is lying on the floor, sitting tiredly holding her husband, who looks almost unconscious. This story is full of drama and moments of unpredictability that keep the reader in suspense. This shocks the young men, and they realize that the situation is more complicated than they can imagine, and now they are facing an important choice. It was Master Peng Do-cheon, and his presence made the youths feel deep respect and concern. Lady Khan explains that they did not find an opportunity to escape, so they stayed here, where danger has long been waiting for them. The young man asks what happened to Mu Yan, and she replies that he took Peng to Yan in prison and urged them to leave first, putting a lot of responsibility on them. Realize that they are left with a killer, and now they will have to decide how to act in this extremely difficult situation. There is pain in the girl's eyes, and everyone understands that something terrible could have happened, and this makes their mission even more difficult and dangerous. They ask her not to worry, trying to give her peace and support at this difficult time. They assure her that everything will be fine, expressing hope that they will be able to overcome all the difficulties. Lady Han tells everyone to go ahead, promising to catch up with them, and she shows her determination and dedication. When asked why he can't run with them, he replies that Peng Do-yoon showed him Peng Do-chan, and that created a reason for him to run. If he's with all the members tomorrow, then there might be an unnecessary fight before everyone groups up with Yan Chang-dan, adding a new level of tension and uncertainty to the plot. But the girl assures that this will only endanger everyone, especially Master Peng Do-cheon, and emphasizes the need to maintain safety. The story cuts to the two warriors discussing their next steps and the risks they will take. They ask a group of young men who are about to leave to stop, informing them of the restrictions the squee has imposed and urging them to return. The squee is said to have ordered that no one may move about the residence, and it is emphasized that this order must be obeyed. The young men reply that the flowering wines in their taverns are fantastic and that they just wanted to try it in an effort to preserve their history. When asked by the guard about the wine, he replies, "Are you talking about the northern plum wine?" "Yes, it's really fantastic." However, the guard points out that this is Squinner's order and that they can't just let them pass. All the same, the young men ask them to pass, emphasizing their great interest. One of the young men left behind eavesdrops on this conversation, gathering important information that can be decisive later on. A young man captivated by the mysterious Lady Han sneaks behind the high fence that separates their world. Here, amid absolute military superiority, the warriors find no way out, and Lady Khan, given the circumstances, chooses to stay put. The young men decide to move forward, going on a dangerous path, hoping for the retreat of their enemies, whom they will catch up with later. The coalition of enemies is impressive with its enormous size, causing boundless fear with its power. Thieves cordoned off all the outer walls, creating an impenetrable barrier for anyone who would try to break in or get out of this dangerous place. They convince their boss that no one will have a chance to slip past their security pillar. They are 100% sure of it. The boss realizes that their plans aren't complete yet and that their target is still inside the residence. He impatiently grabs one of his minions by the collar and sternly asks why their plan hasn't worked yet. The boss starts questioning them harshly, asking why their little guy failed to arrest the target. The girl is exhausted after the fight with the guards and can't even stand on her feet, while Keon, an Asian term, remains unable to walk after his own struggle. "You are in the best conditions, and you have the advantage in numbers, so why haven't they been caught yet?" the manager asks with unbearable surprise, pointing to the missed opportunity. "Perhaps they are wandering in the chaos and hiding," says the servant with fear in her eyes. "We'll bring them to you right away." The leader throws him to the floor and declares that he is just an unfortunate creature in this chaos, showing his ruthlessness. Another servant comes running, asking him to say something or share information, asks him for something, trying to convey important information that can solve the situation. The next chapter prepares us for exciting events, immersing readers in an atmosphere of mystery and anticipation of incredible turns of events. The guards meet the young men with distinct determination, demanding their return to their loggia and promising to end the warnings. The air is filled with tension, and the conflict becomes more and more unpredictable. "We are not complicating the situation." The young men express a challenge, increasing the mystery of the scene. "We just want to rest for a while, because this place throws us off balance and does not allow us to sleep peacefully. But you dare to oppose us, the members of Cheonseodan, over such a small thing? DJ, KJ, VJ," their words vibrate in the air, emphasizing the significance of the conflict. Everything indicates that these young men are extraordinary opponents, gifted with impressive strength and skill, and the tension on the stage only increases the sense of danger. Must understand that the squire's words are absolute and not subject to any exceptions, even for outsiders. The young men, struck by this incongruous statement, question each other, excitedly exchanging glances at such a surprise. With surprise in their eyes, they greet the squire, who tries to convey his power through his own face, trying to answer the squire's greeting, experiencing the mysterious magic of this moment. The squire's face expresses extraordinary power, which leaves the young men in awe and mesmerizes them before the mysterious master. He surveys everyone around him. His gaze searches for one particular young man among those present. With a look of surprise on his face, He declares that he doesn't see Yoon Hyung present here. Unable to see Yoon Heng, he begins to feel frustrated and confused. One of the young men bravely says that he decided to stay, admitting his ailments and bad feelings. His very harsh judging gaze is aimed at this young man, expressing a difficult resonance between them. He expresses genuine concern over Yoon Hyung's absence, expressing his desire for his presence. There's a serious problem at the residence, so he orders people to stay away from the residence, but emphasizes that having everyone here will help resolve the situation faster. But that doesn't mean you should leave the residence. I don't think it's a bad idea until everyone wraps it up. He encourages them not to leave the residence until the situation is fully resolved. Tell the guards at the gate to let Jun Seo-dan out. He issues an order, hoping to solve the problem quickly. They get the opportunity to leave this place, and this opens up a new hope for salvation. The squire orders elite warriors recognized for their majesty and power to be sent to Cheon Seo-dan's lodge. Cheon Seo-dan is a very powerful warrior, and his name inspires respect and fear. The squire's warriors march forth, carrying out the order with great devotion and determination. They move forward with agility and determination, trying to complete their task as quickly as possible. The enemy stands before entering the coalition, reflecting the threat and danger that threatens this object. He is followed by a group of his servants, ready to carry out his orders and monitor his interests. He orders a search of the place, targeting his team to uncover possible secrets. Events are transferred to a cave, where mystery and danger increase, and the action takes place in an unknown space. A noise can be heard from under the ruins, which causes great excitement and suspicion about the possible arrival of enemy forces. Under the ruins, a young man is seen barely pulling his hand out from under the rubble, trying to survive in this desolate environment. At the entrance to the coalition, the enemies are told, trying to find important information but without success. The main enemy commander has an annoyed look on his face because of the quest failure. They continue to search all available resources, trying to find at least traces of their enemy. A tense situation unfolds in front of them, where every step can decide the fate of this meeting. They climb even higher. They need to search the upper beds of the residence. And to tell the visitors that there is a problem at the residence, that will ruin the squire's reputation, says one of the enemies, indignant at this idea. Have you forgotten what happened to Chun-gu last year when he lost the squire's trust? Reminds another enemy, indicating the consequence for the same reputation. The young man who remained in the coalition remains in a hidden position behind a stone and watches the criminals, paying special attention to their movements. Everything is just as Master Peng Do-cheon predicted. The young man says to the lady, that scoundrel, Peng Woo-yun, values his reputation so much, everyone in the Peng clan knows it. The enemies discuss the mythic reputation of this extraordinary warrior. The young men believe that there may still be enemies here, and this place has always attracted them. They reach the gate of the lodge, which does not look heavily guarded, and realize that the lady and the young man must get out there. Lady, thoughtfully looking ahead, seems to see something important. She has a flash of insight and decides to share it with others. Lady asks everyone to stop, ready to express her thoughts and plans for the next course of action. It seems to her that it is not necessary to go down this road. She has doubts about the choice of route and important thoughts about further steps. Events develop very quickly and unpredictably, going deep into the unknown world of events. Memories float in the air. They seem to permeate the surroundings, creating an atmosphere of the unknown and mysterious. At this moment, he barely restrained himself and almost suffocated him, a sense of tension and danger filling the space. All these Jiangshi and all that, I have no idea. DJ KJ, these words emerge from the depths of his confused mind, reflecting his confusion and helplessness. I'm just doing as I'm told, because they promised to pay me handsomely. Who? Who did this? Chan, Dawn, asterisk, actually Dawn, my jam in translation. Carrie says with weight in his voice that Chan Dong of the blood sect is also here. His words contain an important discovery, revealing a new element in the resolution of this story. They realize that if Chan Dong is around, it can pose a serious threat to them. This feeling of insecurity and danger takes over their thoughts. Suddenly, someone flies over them. This moment appears suddenly, adding an element of suspense and intrigue to the scene. An unknown figure lands on the ground, its movement smooth and confident, as if it possesses an invisible power. He wears a red cloak that flutters in the wind, and his face is completely hidden, adding to the mystery of his presence. Who are you? The girl asks. Her voice sounds strained and full of curiosity. This question carries with it the expectation of an answer that can reveal many secrets. Only part of his eyes are visible between the folds of the cloak, which radiate mystery and impenetrability. This little element adds intrigue to his personality. Despite the uncertainty of the situation, one thing is clear. He represents a threat to them. This realization brings tension and uncertainty into the air. The young man is not yet strong enough to resist him. His insecurity and vulnerability in the face of danger add to the emotional tension of the scene. He is enveloped by a red energy, a magical glow that raises the question, what is this power? What is this Lila? This moment adds mystery and mysticism to the situation. The girl feels despair. Her emotions heighten the intensity of the situation, making the moment more dramatic and moving. The young man stands amazed, having never seen such an aura before. His eyes reflect surprise and delight at the unknown magical power radiating before him. He realizes that this figure can kill them. This realization carries with it the heavy weight of reality, filling the atmosphere with fear and tension. The aura of this mysterious figure surpasses any known rank. This testimony of incredible power creates a feeling of indescribable admiration and anxiety in the hearts of the characters. He stands against the background of the moon, which illuminates his figure, creating a mystical and epic image. This image gives the scene grandeur and drama. He is ready for battle, his posture and expression reflecting confidence and determination. This willingness to clash emphasizes the tension of the moment and the anticipation of conflict. The girl, clutching the hilt of the sword, stands in front of him, ready to meet the unknown. Her posture and facial expression reflect determination and courage in this tense situation. He jumps sharply into the air. His movements are quick and precise. This maneuver demonstrates his extraordinary fighting abilities. He soars high above Yu's coalition, dominating the scene from above. His position is high in the air. The lady and the young man stand confused, unable to understand the situation. The main thief stands on the edge of the cliff, waiting for his warrior. His posture is calm and confident. He seems to be waiting for an explanation from him. There is tense silence all around. Waiting for an answer hangs in the air like a thick fog. The man who almost attacked the young men demands to find out. What was it for? His voice sounds demanding and persistent. He's looking for answers to his questions. They knew your name, and the person with them was undoubtedly Peng Doqian. He continues, revealing critical information that could change the course of events. If you keep them alive, it will only be a matter of time before the cult involvement is revealed. So what? His words carry a warning and emphasize the importance of this situation. Eun Hyung of the Jongseong clan, he is a person that Swordmaster Seong Wall appreciates. He concludes by revealing the identity of a key figure. This information adds weight to his words and opens a new dimension in understanding the situation. If it turns out there's a cult involved, we just need to hold them off until things die down. He muses as he ponders a strategy. His words reflect a cautious approach to the situation, emphasizing the importance of deliberate actions. But if we kill Eun Hyung, he ponders the possible consequences of his actions, weighing every word. We'll have to deal with that horrible old Seong Wol, he continues, stressing that killing Eun Hyung could provoke the wrath of a powerful figure. He is the greatest threat to the cult, he emphasizes, giving meaning to the power and influence of Sun Will. Fadi JNJ, therefore if Eun Hyung is to die, he will die at the hands of the Peng clan. DJKA, he concludes by defining the Peng clan's role in this struggle. His words paint a picture of inevitable confrontation and future confrontation. The young men are already running forward. Their steps are quick and decisive. They seek to solve the mystery behind these events, as if sensing an impending solution. So why did he let us go? I have a bad feeling. One of them expresses his worries. These words are filled with doubt and anxiety, as if he senses a hidden danger. They're up to something, he continues, his voice sounds convinced. Suspicions about the intentions of their pursuers grow, adding tension to the situation. Master Peng Do-cheon, huh? He almost fell, stumbling from surprise or from his own thoughts. This moment shows how deeply they were captured by the situation. They notice two men in the distance. This discovery introduces a new element to the development of events, forcing the young men to be alert and cautious. Men meeting young men ask to introduce themselves. Their voices sound demanding, as if they have power or authority. But by the time they reached them, they had already disappeared somewhere. This moment adds intrigue and mystery to the situation. They hid behind the relief of the area, skillfully using the environment for their purposes. Anxiety begins in the coalition. The atmosphere becomes tense and restless, as if an imminent conflict is predicted. Young men quickly understand what they are looking for. This awareness brings a sense of danger and the need to be careful. Security at the scene raised the alarm, ready to act. Their quick and decisive actions show readiness to defend and react to danger. But it seems that these are not guards, but thieves. This unexpected twist adds betrayal and uncertainty to the situation, creating a convoluted plot. "The signal came from the direction of the mountain lodges, sir," reports one of the characters. This information hints at the possibility of a large-scale conspiracy or plan. The signal came from all the cities, indicating coordinated activity covering a large area. This reveals the extent of the potential threat. At that time, in the arms of the girl, the master loses consciousness. This unexpected development adds to the tension and desperation of the scene, leaving the characters in a state of uncertainty and anxiety. It is only a matter of time before the young men are discovered. This awareness of risk and the inevitability of detention hangs over them, creating tension and anticipation. They won't run far even if they carry him, they think, assessing the limited possibilities for escape. This understanding of the limitations of their actions adds to the sense of hopelessness. The lady has a great idea. Her sudden flash of intelligence and shrewdness provides new opportunities in this difficult situation. She plans to distract them while they leave. This cunning plan with a distraction gives hope of a successful escape, adding a strategic element to their actions. The question remains open. Will she cope with this task? Uncertainty and doubt hover around her, adding to the feeling of uncertainty. Only Mushin, who is not around now, remains in her memories. This thought reminds of her loneliness and lack of support at a critical moment. But she confidently declares that she will manage. Her determination and courage strengthen hope and courage in this situation. Meanwhile, criminals have already cordoned off the entire perimeter. Their organized and effective actions create a sense of threat and tension. Footsteps sound loudly on the ground, as if each step is counting down the time until the inevitable meeting. The enemy returns. His movements indicate determination and readiness for action. He only notices a foot near his face. This unexpected discovery introduces an element of surprise and a possible change in the course of events. She vigorously repels him with a strong kick. Her actions are quick and precise, showcasing her fighting skills. The invincible heroine rushes across the land like the wind. Her every step is full of determination and strength. Her movements are fast and confident, giving the impression of elusiveness. Around her, thieves try to strike, but their attempts are futile. She, like a shadow, dodges their every attack, showing not only physical strength but also tactical intelligence. At the decisive moment, she, with incredible accuracy, hits the head of one of the attackers with her foot. This move is not just a strike, it is a work of art in combat that shows her skill. Like a lioness among sheep, she beats the thieves one by one, turning them into a powerless mass. Her kicks have the power of football kicks, knocking opponents a considerable distance. Her every movement explodes with energy and confidence, creating a spectacle of martial prowess. Her struggle is not just physical strength, but a real dance of victory that takes your breath away. The desperate enemy, in response to the attack, makes a bold somersault. This is a demonstration of his dexterity and readiness to accept a challenge, the ability to surprise and defend his positions. This struggle becomes a symbol of a new chapter in this story. This is the moment when the plot gathers momentum, promising new challenges and unexpected turns. Suddenly, in the dark of the night, the thief is hit on the head with a torch. This moment marks not only a literal, but also a symbolic blow, illuminating the scene of the battle and revealing new aspects of the conflict. Around the heroes, in a dance of fire and sparks, a whirlwind of battle unfolds. Sparks fly into the air, creating an atmosphere of tension and unpredictability. In this night darkness, where every movement stands out more brightly, the battle is only gaining momentum. This night witnesses an epic clash where every next move can decide the fate of the heroes. Standing steadfastly against her enemies, the lady demonstrates not only physical strength, but also moral superiority. She is the embodiment of courage and confidence, like an immovable rock in a sea of challenges. With irony in her voice, she mocks her formidable opponents, calling them pitiful. Her words are not just a mockery, but also a psychological attack, which reveals her understanding of combat not only as a physical, but also a mental struggle. Her words only increase the anger of the enemies. Each of them seeks to destroy her, combining their efforts to overcome this unruly heroine. At the critical moment when the enemies attack, the lady jumps spectacularly, avoiding the torment flying from below. This move reveals her incredible dexterity and ability to predict the enemy's actions. Avoiding the attack, she gracefully pushes off the back of one of the enemies, using it as support for an elegant move. This maneuver not only saved her from danger, but also showed her fighting prowess. Lady, like a whirlwind, crushes all opponents around her. Her every move is filled with power and skill, forcing enemies to retreat. This is not just a fight, it is a demonstration of superiority and mastery of the art of combat. Suddenly, she easily jumps onto the roof, finding a strategic advantage. This movement not only distances her from immediate danger, but also gives her the opportunity to control the situation. Looking at the enemies left behind, she just smiles. This smile is not just an expression of satisfaction with victory, but also a symbol of confidence in one's invincibility. The lady addresses her enemies with a defiant statement, "You can't even touch my clothes, let alone kill." These words reflect her immense self-confidence and fearlessness in the face of danger. Despite her superiority, the enemies do not lose their desire to capture her. Their desire is heightened by her challenge, making the situation even more tense. Without losing a single moment, the enemies rush after her on the roof, trying to catch up with the recalcitrant lady. Their footsteps echo loudly across the roof, creating an atmosphere of intense pursuit. Meanwhile, somewhere in the shadows, a young warrior and his master carefully hide from their enemies. They carefully follow the events, avoiding unnecessary attention and preparing for the next step. Seeing that the enemies are distracted from chasing the lady, they realize that it is time to come out of cover. This opens up new possibilities for actions and maneuvers in the future conflict. At this time, the girl who is being chased continues on her way, despite the tireless enemies. Her speed and resourcefulness only add to her advantage in this pursuit. Despite the complexity of the situation, she demonstrates impressive skill. Her every move, every jump or rebound is a work of art, demonstrating her high training and ability to adapt to any situation. Despite her small stature, power is clearly visible in the lady's eyes. Her gaze radiates confidence and strength, demonstrating that true power is not dependent on physical size. She runs across rooftops with such force and speed that the slate beneath her feet seems to fly into the air. This moment highlights her energy and dynamism, striking with her strength and endurance. Even when the slate takes off, she uses it as a weapon, knocking it away with her legs. This unusual technique not only protects her, but also shows her resourcefulness and adaptability. Shards of slate that she deflects fly straight in the direction of her enemies. It turns ordinary building materials into unexpected and effective weapons. And as a result, the slate hits the thieves, catching them off guard. This not only stops them physically, but also psychologically demoralizes them, showing their vulnerability to the lady's unpredictability and shrewdness. Unwilling to give up, the enemies use their swords to cut through the flying slate. Their swift and precise strikes show their skill and determination in this battle. In this chaos, she meets a ninja face to face. It's a moment of tension and intrigue as she confronts a cunning and dangerous adversary. The ninja has no intention of letting her go just like that. He is ready to fight to the end, using all his skills and knowledge to defeat or delay her. At a crucial moment, she demonstrates her agility by impaling the ninja between the legs. This maneuver not only allows her to avoid a direct collision, but also confuses him. After that, she flies beautifully from the roof, like a bird flying freely in the air. This jump symbolizes not only physical freedom, but also the indomitable spirit that allows her to overcome any obstacles. As she lands on the roof, she has a look of surprise on her face. This moment shows the unpredictability of the situation, even for such an experienced warrior. On this roof where she had just landed, the other ninjas were already waiting for her. This heightens the tension of the scene, showing that danger can be waiting at every turn. As she falls onto the roof, she immediately engages in a sword fight with new enemies. Her reactions are instant and precise, showing her readiness for any challenge. All the ninjas on the roof unite with one goal: to overcome her. Their collective offensive underscores the seriousness of the threat she faces. Despite the complexity of the situation, it becomes clear that it is much stronger than it seemed at first glance. Her endurance, skill, and courage are impressive, and her ability to hold her own in this unequal struggle is a testament to her incredible inner strength. In the heart of the fight, she uses her leg as a powerful weapon, delivering a powerful blow to the beard of one of the ninjas. This moment highlights her physical strength and ability to use a variety of techniques in combat. With one of her blows, two enemies lose their balance and are knocked off their feet. This demonstrates not only her strength, but also the precision and efficiency of each movement. After this powerful blow, enemies fall from the roof, which shows her dominance in this fight. This moment emphasizes her superiority and ability to control the flow of the battle. Soon, another enemy rushes at her. This is the continuation of a chain of challenges that she bravely accepts, showing her willingness to fight to the end. In this fight, her blow causes a spectacular effect. The opponent's teeth fly out of the mouth. This moment symbolizes her overwhelming strength and skill, stunning even the strongest of enemies. After an intense battle, she finally finds a moment of peace, breathing a sigh of relief. This sigh symbolizes not only physical, but also emotional recovery after a tense confrontation. Despite her bright presence in battle, she is now invisible to enemies. Her ability to disappear from the sight of her opponents shows her cunning and ability to disguise herself. She stands around the corner, literally a few steps away from the enemies, who do not even suspect her presence. This moment shows how far ahead of her opponents she is, staying one step ahead. Meanwhile, her colleagues had plenty of time to complete their tasks while she distracted the enemies. This demonstrates her ability to work in a team and contribute to a common goal. With the realization that her role at this stage is fulfilled, she realizes that it is time to go. This choice emphasizes her strategic thinking and ability to adequately assess the situation. After a short rest, she turns around again and continues on her way. This movement symbolizes her steadfastness and determination, despite all the challenges that surround her. On her journey, she suddenly meets a new enemy, an even more dangerous thief. This meeting is unexpected, but at the same time emphasizes the unpredictability of her mission. The thief turns out to be Peng Wu-yun, known for his strength and intelligence. His appearance brings a new level of tension and intrigue to the story. Immediately, a question arises in her head. Where is Mu Shan? She knows that they have always acted together, so his absence causes concern and insecurity. Peng Wu-yun informs her with cold indifference that Mu Shan is already dead. This news becomes a big blow for her, turning her worldview and questioning the purpose of her further path. Peng Wu-yun reveals that Mu Shan was buried under a huge load of rocks and dirt. This description not only adds brutality to his death, but also emphasizes the tragedy of this loss. The heroine, full of disbelief and shock, seems unable to accept this terrible news. Her reaction reflects the depth of her feelings and the connection she had with Mu Shan. A blue aura appears around Peng Wu-yun, symbolizing his emotional and spiritual power. This aura can indicate hidden powers or intentions that he has. The enemy begins to understand that she was not alone, and that her ally had considerable influence. This realization can change his perception and plans for her. When faced with questions about the whereabouts of other allies, she chooses to remain silent. This may be evidence of her strategic thinking, or her desire to protect others from potential danger. The heroine turns to Peng Wu-yun saying, "You seem to be blind to your surroundings because you are too fixated on power." This emphasizes her observation and ability to see more than the obvious, and also indicates the enemy's blindness to reality. She learns that Peng Do-cheon has already left the place. This can be both a disappointment and a relief, but in any case, it changes her plans and calculations. The heroine cannot believe that Mu Shan could have been killed. She knows him as a person who is not an easy target for enemies. This shows her deep knowledge of Mu Shan and her belief in his power. She is convinced that Mao Shan could not have died even under the rocks. This moment demonstrates her confidence in his survival and perhaps even hints at some unknown aspects of his character or abilities. She is completely confident in her beliefs, which shows her strength of spirit and indomitability. This confidence can inspire her to further actions and influence her decisions in further struggles. Mao Shan's hand reaching up suddenly appears under the huge stones. She looks like a last plea for help stuck in the ruins. Despite the difficult circumstances, Mu Shan's hand radiates unstoppable strength. She stubbornly holds on, not giving up in the face of the unknown fate that awaits under the stones. Hidden under the rubble, his eyes still remain closed, because it is not so easy to be in this darkness. His face reflects an irreconcilable struggle against circumstances. In this silence, his thoughts return to his distant childhood, when he first set foot on the path of a ninja. These memories are like a beacon in the dark, reminding of past trials and learning. Overcoming pain and fear, he tries to gather all his strength to break free. Every muscle, every cell of his body is focused on the goal of getting out from under these stones. In his memories, he sees himself as a little boy with small but determined hands, learning the art of ninja for the first time. These years of endless training and perfecting the ninja's skills lead to this moment. He knows that everything he has learned will now decide his fate. Mao Shan's path was not always easy and smooth. There were times when everything seemed lost and every step forward was worth incredible effort. He often fell when faced with challenges that seemed insurmountable. Each fall was like a lesson that required strength and endurance. In these moments of trouble, So Wool, his mentor and friend, was always there. He was the one who supported Mu Shan, helping him up after every fall. So Wool has always stressed the importance of rest, telling Mao Shan that even in the most rigorous training, you need to find time for recovery. Despite this, mediocrity in training has always been everything to Mu Shan. He devoted himself to them unreservedly, striving to reach the pinnacle of mastery. His wounds always healed amazingly quickly, as if his body knew it had to withstand any challenge. It was part of his steadfastness and dedication to the ninja way. If Mushin had been weaker, he would have been gone a long time ago. In a world where every moment can be the last, only the strongest can survive. At a young age, when most children are afraid of the dark or being alone, he was too young to fear death. His young mind was focused on learning and improvement. But he had one fear that haunted him constantly like a shadow. This fear is to die without achieving your goals, without realizing your dreams, and without fulfilling your mission. This fear was the strongest motivator for him, driving him forward despite all the difficulties. The master always believed in Mushan's strength, saw in him a potential that exceeded ordinary limits. His confidence was like a pillar for the young warrior. Such brave words had a special weight for a boy who had been injured more than once. They were not just a support, but a reminder of the inner strength he possessed. Caring for his wounds became a daily duty for the sensei that required a lot of time and resources, but he never regretted it, seeing the growth of his student. Therefore, Mushin promised himself and his master to learn how to heal wounds so that he would no longer be a burden and become stronger. Remembering these words, Mushin found new strength in himself that helped him get out from under the stones. Every thought about his master and promise gave him unstoppable energy and will to fight. Clenching his fist, Mushin felt his determination harden like a stone. It was a moment when he decided to fight to the end, no matter the circumstances. Gathering all his strength together, he prepared for the last attempt to break out from under these stones. It was like a gathering of inner energy that gave him the power to act. An aura began to wake up around him, an invisible but tangible force that testified to his unshakable will and inner strength. At the same time, the events are transferred to the battlefield between Squire Penn and the killer. The tension between them grows, foreshadowing an imminent clash. In this battle, the assassin will leave a visible mark in the history of the Peng clan. His name will be etched in memory as a symbol of recklessness and bravery, while at the same time portraying him as a fool who chose to resist an overwhelming force. These words ignited in Mushin's heart like a spark that ignites the fire of indignation. He could not remain indifferent to such a challenge. He rushes at the girl, moving with incredible speed. His movements were like sudden flashes which few could have predicted. His sword hits the girl's sword with great force. The clash of steel produces sparks and a loud clang that echoes through the air. The force of the blow sends the girl flying back, losing her balance. This moment shows how powerful Mushan was in his anger. An incredible power was awakening in him, a real storm of emotions and physical strength. His actions reflected true ninja power that was both intimidating and exciting. Throughout the meeting, he repeatedly stated his need for respect, emphasizing his strength and skill. His words were full of determination and self-confidence. The girl, facing his power, realized that it was impossible to escape from him. Her gaze held a mixture of fear and determination, knowing that she would have to face it. She decided to make a surprise move by jumping over him to find a weak spot in his defenses. This step was full of desperation and hope for success. But she also had her trump card up her sleeve, her aura, a powerful inner resource that could give her an advantage in this unequal struggle. The killer, faced with this surprise, had to quickly go on the defensive. He had to instantly adapt to the new threat in order to maintain the upper hand in the battle. A strike on offense produces bright sparks, showing the force and intensity of the collision. This moment reminds of a relentless struggle, where every blow can be decisive. The protective bracelet on his arm cracked with the force of the impact. It turns out that even the strongest charms cannot withstand the incredible power of this battle. It was wrong to think his defenses were impenetrable. This moment opens his eyes to the reality and vulnerability that was hidden under the mask of confidence. Sensing his defenses weakening, he was instantly filled with a desire for revenge. His eyes shone with undisguised aggression and determination. His sword, imbued with a blood-red aura that he skillfully wielded, seemed to embody his anger and power. This sword became a symbol of his indomitable will to victory and unwavering determination. Along with the sword's red aura, his own blue aura also glowed, creating a halo of power and energy around him. It was a spectacle of strength and concentration. Rushing to meet her, he sought to resolve this battle as quickly as possible. His every step was full of determination and will to win. However, he was not prepared for her sudden jump, which turned out to be an unpredictable move in this fight. This instantly changed the course of the battle. The blow she delivered was extremely strong. Its power was such that even he lost his balance for a moment under its influence. Her eyes were glowing with adrenaline and the emotions that flooded her at that moment. After the blow, she sat on the ground preparing for the next move. Her breathing was even, and her gaze was focused, ready to continue the fight. A blood-red aura filled with energy and power raged around, creating an atmosphere of tension and unrelenting struggle. It enveloped everything around, as if symbolizing the unstoppable flow of emotions and the power of collision. The swords collided again, emitting sparks and a loud clang. Every blow was like a dance of death and skill, where every move could decide the fate of the battle. She didn't expect her opponent to be able to adapt and respond to her attacks so quickly. This moment caused her mixed feelings of surprise and respect. Confidently held off her attack, showing his stamina and incredible fighting skills. His stability was like a stone wall, impenetrable and unshakable. The assassin's blade was full of audacity and determination. He is not just a sword, but the embodiment of his character and will. Every movement he made with his sword was precise and sharp, like an expression of his irrepressible spirit. "Don't you dare think I'm on the same level as the others you killed before," thundered the man, his voice echoing off the walls, filled with anger and determination. He expressed his uniqueness and strength, emphasizing that he was not just another victim. Using agility and skill, he managed to disarm her, placing her on the ground with unexpected ease. This maneuver reflected his high level of fighting skills. Pain engulfed her, spreading through her body. She lay on the ground in a sense of defeat and physical pain in response to her sudden loss of advantage. "Know your place!" shouted the enemy, demanding recognition of his superiority. His cry was like an announcement of his dominance in this battle. The blade of his sword was near her face, barely touching her skin. That moment was like an eternity, where she felt the coldness of the metal and was aware of her helplessness in the face of his power. "Speak if you want to die painlessly," shouted loudly, holding the sword at her throat. His words echoed through the air, filled with cold determination. He was giving her a chance, even though his look showed that he was ready to act without hesitation. "Go to hell," she answered, radiating an indomitable spirit. A group of heroes rush forward with desperate determination. Their steps are sharp, filled with anxiety and the inevitability of the moment. Shouts are heard in the distance. This is the sound of battle. They stop and listen. Everyone's eyes are tense. They need to do something, and it needs to happen immediately. Turning around the corner of the building, a terrible picture opens before them, which changes everything. This is something that cannot be fixed anymore. On the floor, amidst the chaos, lies an unconscious squire. His lifeless body causes a wave of emotions in each of the characters. This is the moment of realizing the full depth of the situation. Lady stands, sword pressed to her throat. The tension in the air is felt almost physically. Every move can be decisive. In the eyes of the attacker, only thoughts of murder can be read. His gaze is focused, ruthless, full of intentions to fulfill his sinister desire. She, with her sword, barely restrains him from a decisive blow. Her hands are shaking, but she perseveres, defending not only herself but also the principles for which she fights. Above the trees, from the echo of an unknown sound, a flock of birds rises. Their unexpected flight adds a sense of uncertainty and anticipation to the scene. Meanwhile, someone is rushing to the coalition. This figure, full of determination and urgency, brings with him news that can change the course of events. The noise, which reached the ears of all those present, immediately causes them to understand. They know who it could be. This is a familiar sound that causes anxiety and curiosity in everyone. Some of them even think it could be an earthquake. This vague hum is so powerful that its nature evokes mixed feelings and conjectures. Thoughts begin to run through the killer's head. Who could it be? He pauses, trying to figure out if it's friend or foe, and if he should prepare for another conflict. He quickly realized who it was. His reaction betrays a mixture of calculation and strategic planning. Now he knows how to proceed. These events are starting to get more and more interesting. Every action, every word can now change the course of history, and everyone is closely watching the development of the situation. A man from the Second Coalition stands staring intently into the distance. His gaze is focused. He is clearly expecting something significant. He suddenly stops. He seems to have heard some noise from the mountains. It was a faint sound, but intriguing enough to catch his attention. Thought what he might have thought. Was it really a real sound or just a play of his own imagination? He remembers how he used to feel a tremor in the ground, as if something was collapsing under the ground. That feeling was so real and deep that it caused alarm. But this time, the situation looks different. He feels that something has changed. Something new and unknown is happening, and this causes him not only anxiety, but also concern about the future. A figure in a red cape suddenly appears from behind the man, stepping out of the shadows with unwavering confidence. Ninjas, dressed in red, descend on the slopes of the mountain. Their movement resembles a shadow gliding in the dark. There were an incredible number of them, like a red stream filling the mountain path. They approach the man, maintaining the ninja aura of silence and invisibility. He, without losing his composure, orders his servant, "Kill them all!" His voice is cold and unwavering, like a sentence. At this critical moment, the lady was on the verge of death, feeling the inevitability of her fate. Suddenly, she grabs a piece of earth that was lying under her feet, gathering all her strength. With sudden determination, she throws the pebble into the killer's eyes, creating a moment of distraction. Then quickly and deftly, she kicks him in the back, trying to shift the balance of power in her favor. She barely manages to throw him off her, breaking free from the deadly embrace, finding a chance for survival. The killer, despite the incredible somersault made by Izzy's blow, deftly lands on his feet like a cat. The lady understands that the only chance is to escape. She can't let him catch up with her again. She is back on the roof, running, trying to get away from her pursuer. Her movements are fast and desperate. Meanwhile, a man stands alone against a whole pack of ninjas. A difficult battle awaits him. There is only confidence on his face. He knows what he has to do and is ready to do it. For him, this situation is not a threat, but rather a test that he is ready to accept. His strength and skill make fear retreat. He is not only ready for battle, but also confident in his victory. There is tense silence in front of the coalition. All attention is focused on waiting for future events. People stand looking into the darkness that surrounds them. Among the dense forest, where the trees create mysterious corridors between themselves, only shimmering shadows are visible. They move imperceptibly, as if part of the night veil. Young guard coalitions pay attention to two shadows appearing in the distance. Their eyes strain, trying to make out every movement. A student brings in Wang Hyung, causing surprise in the group. His appearance is a surprise that brings both joy and concern at the same time. He exclaims, "It's Yun Hyung, you made it out safe and sound." His words, filled with relief, are immediately interrupted by concern for Master Peng Do-chon. "Take care of the master, he needs rest," sounds both an order and a call for compassion. The old man is carefully placed under a tree, providing him with comfort and shade. His tired eyes watch those around him. One of the young men dares to ask if the old man has met Squire Pan. Curiosity and anxiety mingle in his voice. "Yes, he appeared out of nowhere and was looking for you as if he knew everything. I thought Deputy Commander Yen Cheong-dan was supposed to meet him in person," exclaims the old man with an emotional onslaught, obviously remembering a strange event. "If the squire came to him, then Deputy Commander Yen Cheong-dan—" The words trail off, leaving an unspoken thought in the air. Everyone present mentally weighs this information, but it is hard to believe in such a turn of events. They sense that something is wrong. Knowing that Yen Cheong-dan is not one to be easily defeated, they begin to doubt the possibility of such a scenario. Suddenly, the expressions on the young men's faces change dramatically. They realize that they are facing a situation that can have unpredictable and far-reaching consequences. Suddenly, a voice shouts from behind, "Hey!" The tone sounds familiar but unexpected for everyone. Everyone turns around, not believing their eyes. In front of them are persons with whom it seemed impossible to meet. These are their colleagues from the coalition, those whom they have not seen for a long time. Their presence causes surprise and joy. Among them there is a mentor and a teacher, whose faces radiate calmness and wisdom. They were all together, their colleagues, friends, mentors. This gathering seemed almost unreal. The meeting was unexpected for everyone. Neither of them imagined that they could see each other in such circumstances. "It's good that everyone is alive," sounds the expression of relief. These words reflect the general mood, the joy of the fact that, despite all the trials, they are all here, together and unharmed. In an atmosphere of surprise and joy, they exchange greetings. This moment of meeting is filled with warmth and mutual support. The mentor, among all, is in a state of shock. He cannot believe what he sees in front of him. His attention was drawn to an old man sitting under a tree. This figure seemed to him extremely significant, almost symbolic. The look of the old man seems to completely paralyze the mentor. He stands motionless, as if he has lost the ability to react or speak, completely mesmerized by the mystery of this figure. Aster must be taken care of before he passes out. There's a tense silence around him, full of anxiety and uncertainty. The martial arts teacher, standing nearby, watches Aster with compassion. His gaze expresses deep pity and indecision. Aster sits under a tree, barely conscious. Fatigue and exhaustion can be seen in every line of his face. The atmosphere around is so tense that it seems as if the air vibrates with tension, preserving every whisper, every movement. "Pai Do Cheon, is what he said true?" A question that hangs in the air, filled with doubt and at the same time despair. "Yes, Squire Piengwu Yun conspired with the blood cult in an attempt to take full control of Zhongyuan," a stunning answer that opens up new horizons of betrayal and intrigue. But it was just a false promise by the blood cult used to manipulate Pianwu Yun. The words that weave a web of deceit open a new page of betrayal. It turns out that the cult of blood is pursuing another goal. Their intention is to make the Pian clan appear as enemies, paving the way for their destruction at our hands. The intrigue of the secrets deepens. Their goal is to frame the Pian clan for treason, leading to their demise at our hands. The cult of blood's cunning is gaining momentum, turning friends into enemies. The teachers are stunned by these revelations. They stand bewildered, trying to grasp the essence of this web of deception that surrounds them. This is clearly a very serious incident, but we cannot afford to jump to conclusions. A prudent voice of reason in an hour of chaos, calling for prudence and thorough investigation. FIDJN Vice Commander Mu Yong started this investigation a long time ago and gathered a lot of evidence. DKJ. A voice sounds confidently, revealing new details of the mystery. There is not the slightest doubt. A confirmation that cuts off any guesswork, like the last nail in the lid of a secret. This conversation surprises the teachers more and more. They silently exchange surprised looks, as if each word opens up a new world of incomprehensible intrigue. The head teacher asks, "Where's Wu Yen?" His voice reflects anxiety and impatience, emphasizing the importance of this character in the maze of events. In the mountains, the sound of the steps of a girl rushing to the cave spreads. Her speed and determination are felt in every movement, every breath. She runs with all her might, cutting through the wind howling around her. Her movements are quick and confident as if she feels every second counts. The hope of seeing Mu Shan lives in her heart. This thought gives her strength and fills her eyes with desperate faith. And here she is already at the entrance to the cave. Her breathing becomes more frequent, anticipation grows. Only she was going to enter the cave, focused on her goal, full of determination. But suddenly an unknown man appears behind her, directing his aura into her back. The tension of the moment becomes almost palpable, and the mystery of the stranger adds to the intrigue. Preparing to fight back, she stands. Her posture reflects a readiness to fight, her eyes blazing with determination. If Do Qian has already left, then nothing should keep her here. The man's words sound important and mysterious. So why did she come back? He continues to ask, as if deciphering her thoughts, introducing an element of doubt into the situation. The lady is ready to fight him off. In her eyes, the fire of struggle in her movements, grace and determination. The man's power is great. His aura radiates power and control, making him an imposing figure. This is Chang Dawn, a name that rings in the air like thunder, opening a new chapter in this story. Meanwhile, on the other side of the mountain, a ninja sword pierces the criminal. The action is sudden, sharp, and precise, evoking a sense of justice. The saliva of death flies from the criminal's mouth, an image that reflects the brutality of this confrontation and the inevitability of the end. The last words of the criminal were, "Who are you?" A question that is left hanging in the air, filled with surprise and pain. The ninja in red, with blade strapped to his hands, stands as a symbol of deadly efficiency and skill. They continue to kill all criminals in their path, cleansing the world of evil step by step. Their every move is determined and decisive, the embodiment of inevitable punishment. They are trying to be stopped, but professional ninjas trained to fight and die are not the kind to be stopped easily. They move with incredible speed and confidence. But pro ninjas are not of a level to be stopped. Their skill and tactics in battle make them unstoppable. They are like elusive shadows. The uppercut sends the criminal's head flying off, a scene that showcases the raw power and ruthlessness of the ninja, striking in its brutality. The ninja enters the room, his every step is timed, like a messenger of death who has come for his victim. "Please don't kill me. I'm just a servant," came from the corner of the room from a frightened woman. Desperation and fear can be heard in her words, which makes the atmosphere even more tense. From the room comes the cry of the men, filled with shock and pain. It is the sound of despair that breaks the silence of the night house. Ninja kills 2 more down servants, their lives cut off instantly as if they were just shadows in this game of death. At that moment, somewhere in the coalition, you can feel the growing tension and chaos. "You couldn't even catch up with the girl? We're so sorry, sir." Disappointed and confused voices can be heard reflecting failure and helplessness. With thieves, things don't go according to plan. Their schemes and plans collapse one after the other, creating a sense of chaos and uncertainty. "Our people were killed by a group of unknown attackers." "What?" An alarming cry is heard, reflecting the panic and surprise of an unexpected attack. We regrouped and entered the battle, but we are completely unfamiliar with their fighting style. and they are strong. A story that reflects confusion and despair, revealing new mysteries and threats. What's going on here? A reaction that reflects the general uncertainty and anxiety that prevails among the servants. Sir! Another servant runs up. His voice trembles from strong emotions. He seems to be the herald of bad news. What now? Some people from the Murim coalition wanted to see you. This news sounds like an additional blow, bringing even more chaos and unpredictability to the situation. Murim coalition, a man named Guangam and Do-won from Yongcheongdan. The words are spoken with a sense of importance and surprise, as if each name carries a deep meaning. There is nothing but fear on his face. His eyes reflect anxiety and his features are tight with tension and uncertainty. Do-won stands stony-eyed, immovable and commanding. His figure radiates strength and authority as if he is the embodiment of indomitability. Guangam also looks as if he is everywhere. His gaze is deep and penetrating, as if he sees not only what is in front of him, but also what remains hidden. Behind them is a whole group of young masters, each of whom has his own unique strength and skill. They are ready for any challenge. Their unity and dedication to the cause can be felt in the air. It won't be a problem for them to kill all the thieves. Their skill and determination are clearly visible, reflecting their willingness to act without hesitation. A young man runs shouting, "Hello everyone, Squire Penn has arrived." This announcement instantly changes the atmosphere, bringing an element of surprise. Everyone is confused. The reaction of those around them reflects the growing tension and excitement that fills the space. The killer understands that he has no way out. His face reflects the understanding of the inevitability of his end. What was he thinking when he did so much evil? That question echoed in his mind, full of regret and remorse. Even the young men look at him domineeringly. Their eyes reflect strength and confidence, as if they have already judged him. Besides the words "Devoid is Devoides," he couldn't think of anything else to say. His words sound almost helpless, reflecting his complete loss of control over the situation. Stones that were once part of solid rock now fly beautifully in all directions, like patterns of the finest lace, wrapped in a dance of dust and light. Each piece of stone flies away from the other, painting a ballet of chaos and destruction in the air, which dazzles with its unpredictable beauty. Mao Xin, trapped under the weight of stones, begins to feel a powerful influx of his aura, which, like a powerful vortex, wraps around him, adding strength. He concentrated his energy, and as his aura increased, the stones began to move, as if sensing a force that could defeat even unshakable rocks. Using his powerful aura, Mushin rises from the rubble like a phoenix rising from the ashes, marking a new beginning in this fight.